Man, I didn't want to do this. I didn't want to do it, but we got to get it done. We got to get it done. Speechless for the most part. Speechless. Just the way we came out, the way we played. Um, it's inexcusable. It is. I mean, road game, go compete, right? Um, Appreciate everybody coming through. Do your boy a favor, punch the like button. This is maybe a coming to Jesus party about the Miami Dolphins. Maybe we don't got it. Maybe we ain't got the dogs. Maybe we don't have the grit. Maybe we don't have the physicality. I mean, maybe what people say about us is right. I mean, I can't I can't sugarcoat it. I got to be straight with you. And when I look at what happened on Sunday, it was ugly from pretty much start to finish. Um, and to think about where we are right now, and to think about where we were, a few weeks back, it's just it's difficult to fathom. And the Miami Dolphins really have to do some soul searching this week. I'm sure they're going to turn the page on this, very quickly because they have to prepare for another football team coming into their house and trying to snatch the division from them. After feeling like we had a grip on it, right? Feeling like we had a grip on the division. Now we have to play Buffalo in Miami. Another good quarterback. And remember, I said before the game, I was like, hey, this defense has been playing well, but we've been playing some iffy quarterbacks, right? As soon as we played somebody that was good, a really good quarterback, and even Will Levis carved us up. Let's be completely honest with ourselves. Will Levis carved us up, and Lamar Jackson just literally torched us. Dude only threw the ball 21 times. 18 to 21, 300 yards, 5 touchdowns. When you can throw the ball 21 times and have 5 touchdowns, that's crazy. That's crazy efficiency. Perfect passer rating. Didn't even have to run. Didn't even have to run. That's wild. I think he had 26 rushing yards. He was just like, I'm going to just stay in the pocket and carve y'all up. DB's secondary looked lost. My goodness. Like, what have we been doing for the past few weeks? Like, the secondary looked lost, like out of place, getting beat in man-to-man coverage, getting beat in zone, giving up a ton of deep plays, just a ton of huge plays. I mean, where was the defensive line? Where was the pressure? Couldn't get home. But shout out to everybody in the chat, man. We got 20 in the room. Hit the like on your way in. I got some people pulling up. This gonna be the one. This gonna be the one right here. Y'all gonna look back on this one and say, hey, this was the show, right? Canes, shout out to the homie Canes in the building. I don't even really feel like doing the meme, yo. I don't even really feel like doing the yes, sir, because it really is like I'm still just lost. I'm still at a loss for words. Shout out to the homie Canes in the building. Salute CB83. Salute, bro. S. Harris, we definitely got our boots smoked. Definitely. A thrashing from start to finish. Special teams, offense, defense. Maybe we ain't got the dogs. Maybe we ain't got them, right? And these are the tough conversations that need to be had about this football team. We lose Chubb to an ACL for the year. Prayers up for him. Speedy recovery. Wishing him the best. But Vic Fangio has got to figure it out. And I just don't feel comfortable with this defense going into the playoffs. Not the way they played yesterday. And he can be stubborn all he wants to, but, bro, you need to make some adjustments. And, like, they need to be made fairly quickly because I mean, you really got 2 games to figure it out, right? You got this week and you got next week, and if you don't get it figured out within these next couple of weeks, you're in a bad spot. You're in a bad spot. Happy New Year, Adam Sadowski. Says, Happy New Year, CBD3 and everyone. Happy New Year, bro. Didn't want to go into the new year taking an L like that, but hey, it happens. It happens. My man says F it on the Buffalo. Yep. Happy New Year. Milky, what's good? CB, I'm not happy with our game. Yeah. It was ugly. It was ugly. Brian Brains, I see you guys. I'm about to get the homies in here right now. Let's beat Buffalo. EMO shit. Yeah, man. Utah fan says this year is looking like last year, losing starters on defense and one on offense. Yeah. We lost X yesterday, and we lost Chubb. So we'll see what happens, man. They got to figure it out. But I got the homies in the back. Lou, EM, what's good, fellas? What's going on, man?
Oh shit! I didn't think he was gonna do it,
man.
I did not think you had it in you, CB.
Hey,
You put that thumbnail out there, bro. Okay, I see you. I see you.
I mean,
I see you.
What's your thoughts on the game? And I'll start with you, Lou. And then we'll start asking some of the questions. What's your thoughts on the game first?
Well, the game was terrible, CB. I mean, again, just another moment. We all knew what was at stake going into the game. And defensively, right, they hold a lot of blame because nobody showed up defensively, right? Zach Seiler, yeah, he made some plays, whatever. But the fact remains, they didn't get off the bus. I heard EM say they didn't even leave the hotel. I would agree with that, right? So that is a given. But it's just, again, it's the moment, right? And
it's the moment.
What I see in this fan base, there's not so much more coddling, I want to say, with Tua, right? We used to give, and again, I'm not trying to take a shit on him, but there's people that have serious questions now, CB, because it's in these games, and I don't think we started off terrible. I thought Tua was playing actually really, really good, right? I'm one of the people that said, I don't believe this offense. I think we were moving the ball up to the 2-minute warning of the first half. I didn't think we had a problem with Baltimore's defense at all. I think we were handling it right. I think McDaniel was giving to us some good throws to Durham Smythe up the middle. It just seemed like we were cooking, right?
Yeah.
But then something happened, and when the pressure turned up, right, when the lights kind of got to the brightest, that's when, and again, I hate to do it, but there's only one person on this team that we're talking about giving $50 million to.
Ooh.
And that's Tua Tagovailoa. And we come out every week and we say, CB, me and you did a show this week, and we were talking about the leadership we were seeing from him. And, he is starting to see he's locked in and stuff. And when I see moments that happen, again, at the 2-minute warning, no matter if you want to blame the coach or blame Tua or whatever, I just think you have to do a better job of managing the game, right? Like, we all, oh, well, McDaniel should have did this. But, yeah, bro, but Tua could have slowed the game down, right? Tua could have said, no, coach, you want us to maybe, if we're practicing, because this is the second time in a row now, that right before the 2-minute, we're running to the line to try to create another play. I think Tua could do a better job in that. I don't know, bro. There's questions about Tua. I still love him, right? I still think he's the guy, or he has the ability to be the guy, CB. But and we'll touch on it a little bit later because there's a couple more other things I want to say. But I'm just saying, CB, to be a leader, right, and to be that guy, that $50 million, $60 million guy, you got to be better than what Tua is giving us in these moments, and that's just what it is, bro.
Yeah, I mean, I can't disagree with you. Go. I mean, what's your thoughts, Ian? On the game?
See, this is where. Listen, I'll get to the game in a minute, but real quick.
Oh, you want to switch the tie? You want to go straight there?
Yeah. I kind of want to take a trip down memory lane real quick, right? Mm-hmm. So, yeah, Lewis alluded to this about there's a lot of people, quote unquote, I'm paraphrasing, but waking up and, they're kind of, kind of turning on Tua, and they're kind of, the support is not as strong as it once was, right? But again, let's take a trip down memory lane. Who was the guy, right? And CB, this is I'm shooting bullet. I'm aiming these shots directly at you as well. I'm putting you in that group, right?
Yeah.
There was a gentleman in the community in 2020, 2021 that was only highlighting a lot of the issues that a lot of people are harping on and trying to jump on the bandwagon right now surrounding Tua. And again, I'm not sitting here saying I'm willing to move off of Tua. I'm not, but I'm addressing about the heat that I received for only highlighting these issues that are surfacing now. But I was labeled as a hater. I was turned on. I was ridiculed. I was told I didn't know football, when all I was doing was just going by what the tape was saying. And these are the areas of Tua's game that he needs to drastically improve upon. So to hear Lewis, not necessarily Lewis, but UCB, as well as a good portion of this fan base, sitting up here regurgitating a lot of the same things that I said back in 2020 and 2021, it is just refreshing, because them chickens have come home to roost. So it's refreshing for me to hear that. But anyway, I just want to get that out there real quick. Let's transition.
You can put that out there, and I want you to understand this is that, I mean, you got to do it with context, because you also have to consider that, for the first couple of years, Tua didn't have a lot around him, like to support, consistent, good play, right?
But CCB, we had this conversation the other day. Y'all made it about what he don't have around him. See, y'all have created that narrative that Tua is a completely byproduct of what he has around him.
But it's a combination of all of that. It's never one thing. It's coaching, it's what he has around him. It's scheme. It's all It's all of that. We can't put it on one thing. It's never going to be.
But no. I'm not trying to do that. I'm not trying to do that. All I'm saying is we're talking about this particular issue, specifically this issue about when your team needs you to be the best version of yourself. This is where Tua has unfortunately he's fallen short.
Now let's be real. Now let's bring it
going back to college. Back to college now.
Let's bring it back a little bit though. Now, Tua's game yesterday wasn't horrid, right? It wasn't horrid by any means.
It was bad enough, bro. It was bad enough.
It wasn't great. It wasn't good. He made some plays. He how many yards did he throw for? Let me just.
I think
237, I believe.
237, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. 22 for 38, which 38 times throwing the ball is a lot. And I've always said Tua's not the guy that's going to throw the ball for 38 times and be successful, right? So that's a, from NFL standards, you would say bad game. Would you guys say bad game?
Well, you're forgetting about absolutely, that was a bad game with the 2 interceptions. Absolutely,
horrible. Yeah. The 2 interceptions bad.
No, that's terrible. Especially, it's about the timing of those interceptions, bro. You are driving, and again, we talked about how McDaniel should have regrouped, should have let the clock run down to the 2-minute warning, regrouped. Reassessed the situation, took a deep breath, got everybody on the same page, and then move forward, right? But still, at the end of the day, I do agree with that narrative. But at the end of the day, you still have to execute if you're a player, bro. That's your job. Your job is to execute, and you throw a pick when you need points, even a field goal, right? That creates momentum for your team going into halftime. No, you throw an interception. They take the ball back down, and they score again. Then on top of that, your defense is fighting, and finally, they had one bright spot. They create a turnover, right? A fumble. Zach Seiler creates a 4th fumble. Then on top of that, the very next play, you turn on, throw another pick, a momentum shattering pick, bro. So it wasn't necessarily the two interceptions was bad enough, but it was at the moment that you created those interceptions, bro.
Yeah. And not only that, Ian, but when the first interception came, right? Like, think about the first one. We've seen this multiple times now this year, that there's plays to be made that are scoring plays, right? On that interception, Tua he basically stared at his number 1 read or his first option, right? And I'm not trying to say he's a 1 read quarterback, but just look at it. He never came off the receiver. He stared down the receiver the whole time. Durham Smythe backside running under the seam, wide open. Wide open. He did the same shit against Kansas City. Waddle streaking down the seam. Don't look no way. It's like there's certain plays in the game, to Ian's point, when the plays are there, right? In the moment, bro, Tua shrinks in those moments. It's like his fundamentals break down. I don't know what it is. He's not seeing the field. It's like, and I just don't understand it. I just don't understand it. And I'm sorry. Listen, I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to throw the comparison out there, right? I get all the numbers, and the numbers are great. I love the numbers. That's what has made me one of the reasons I've changed my opinion on Tua. Right. But the fact remains, Kirk Cousins gives you great numbers. Look at Kirk Cousins' numbers. He's consistently 3,800 yards to 4,200 yards, 28 touchdowns to 32, 34 touchdowns, low interceptions, right? But what is the main problem with Kirk Cousins? The moments, right? When you need Kirk Cousins to be, again, everybody thinks Kirk Cousins is a fringe top 10 quarterback. Well, Tua's playing at a top 5 level. That wasn't a top level 5 performance yesterday. And I'm not saying if Tua would have played even better, that Miami still wasn't going to lose. That's not what I'm saying. But he didn't give you enough to win neither. He just didn't. And this can't keep being the same conversation we have in these moments. Because next week on Sunday night, now that the game got flexed, there's another moment. The week after that, wherever it is, in Miami, whether it's on the road, that's another moment. And to Ian's point, we come up here and do it live and put our necks on the line when we talk like this. But we do the same thing when we're on our private conversations. And the fact remains, Tua has to get the job done, bro. He can't keep falling short in these moments, CV and EM. He just cannot, bro.
And
he
but
can't.
I co-sign everything Lewis just touched on. But I want to be clear, right? And I want to keep things in perspective surrounding this player. Tua, again, 4-year guy, right? I know a lot of people don't want to hear that, right? 4-year guy, still developing, right? I think where Tua is, like in these specific moments, right? You have to learn how to win. And I think a lot of our fan base, right, the more critical ones, aren't taking this into account enough. And this is relative to Tua as well as Mike McDaniel, both. Y'all have heard me say this privately, right? So at the end of the day, you got to learn how to win. I've always brought the comparison of LeBron James. And again, I'm not saying Tua is in that, that stratosphere in terms of impact, right? But LeBron James, for many, 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 many years, early on in the early stages of his development, he came under immense criticism about when his team needs you to be the best version of yourself, and you need a bucket at the most opportune times, right? Well, LeBron James shrank for many, many years, right? We all know that. It's well documented. Right. Well, what happened? It took him going to Miami, learning from a champion, learning from a player that knows how to win, that's been there on the brightest stage and performed, and he was at his peak. That you have to learn how to do that. And when he got under the tutelage of Pat Riley and also Dwayne Wade, right? A lot of that knowledge, him sitting and soaking up all of that knowledge and that knowledge base on how to maximize and be the best version of yourself when the heat is when the heat is on, right? You have to learn how to do that. And I think that is where Tua is at this stage of his career. The unfortunate thing about Tua is we got the same coach, right? Our head coach, 2-year head coach, right, is in that same developmental cycle, right? He's learning how to be the best version of himself in terms of play calling for the duration of a 60-minute ball game, right? So both of them are on that same trajectory. Both of them are on that same learning curve, right? But again, here's where the perspective is. Here's where I keep it in perspective. I'm not attempting to speak for anybody else. Right. 4-year guy, Tua, what the positive out of this is that he's gotten better every year, right? Mike McDaniel, from last year going into this year, he's gotten incrementally better as well. So to the portion of the fan base that's ready to abandon ship and blow the whole thing up, right? Based off, we're all frustrated, right? In these big moments, in these big games. Neither one of them, Mike McDaniel or Tua Tagovailoa, has not been the best version of themselves. But we have seen improvement from them, and that's really the only position that you can ask to be in from a fan's perspective. You just want to see improvement,
and
that's where we all need to keep it in perspective relative to Mike McDaniel as well as Tua Tagovailoa.
And I agree with you in regards to that. I mean, the only thing you could ask for is improvement, right? But at some point, right, in these moments, this window we have, because we know it. I mean, I think these windows to win are real, right? And I think right now we have our best opportunity, and it seems like we're squandering it, right? So when do you stop? I mean, Mike McDaniels talks about his play calling. He talks about the mistakes. He's very critical of himself. I think Tua is very critical of himself too, in terms of his play, his performance. But when you guys start figuring it out, right? And it seems like in these moments, these big moments where they have the opportunity, they do find a way to squander opportunities.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
They find a way to squander opportunities. And like you gotta, the NFL is a week to week thing, right? Every week is a new week, a new opportunity. And Lou, you did bring this up. I think the Dolphins have done a really good job of fixing things the next week. They come out and win games. They've never this season they haven't lost 2 games in a row.
Back to back, right.
Back to back. So I do think they adjust, but let's see what they do now, because it seems like the chips are stacked against them. Their backs are against the wall. And I think offensively they gotta figure it out. And defensively,
absolutely,
we haven't even got to talking about the defense yet. But
we will.
We're spending a lot of time talking about Tua and McDaniel, but the defense was god awful yesterday. God awful, right? I don't think I've ever seen a defense go out there and just play so poorly, just so clueless, and just not having understanding of where they're supposed to be on the field. Lamar literally. And he didn't do it. He didn't do it. And I mean, we literally gave it to him. I think we made it easy on him. I think that's what pisses me off the most about the game is that the defense just made it easy on him, right? Easy throws, easy toss and catch. So you're telling me that when they run the wheel route the first time you get the pass interference, you don't see it coming the next 2 or 3 times, and you still get beat by it?
Well,
come on, right?
In regards to that play, in regards to that play specifically, that was on Duke Riley, right? Because when on that wheel route, right, he got picked twice.
You got picked twice, but there's still no safety over the top, which is
actually, if Duke Riley would have, as opposed to trying to go in underneath the pick, he should have went over the pick and anticipated the wheel route. There would have been no need for safety help at that point because you had a 2 to 3 yard cushion on that route, and at that time with that cushion, I think he would have been in a better position to make a play if they opted to still go to the running back, on that particular play. But to me, the play, when you look at the play call, right? That was on Duke Riley. He got picked up. I'm like, bro, you got picked on the same play twice. I'm like, bro, when are we gonna when are we gonna learn?
But
right? So I don't necessarily put those 2 calls on Fangio.
But when are we gonna learn that the defensive call probably isn't the best call? Maybe you should be playing zone there and not manning up with Duke Riley. Can we talk about that? Like, maybe that's the wrong play call. Maybe you should be playing zone instead of playing man.
But Duke Riley, if we're going to be fair, right? He's been outstanding in coverage ever since he became a starter, bro.
But see,
those 2 play calls, those 2 bonehead plays, that was a reflection of athleticism. He was more equipped from an athletic standpoint to turn around and run that route with that running back. He just got picked off on the same play. That's a mental issue. That's a mental issue.
That's mental and physical, and I don't like the play call. I feel like you can't put guys in that situation, especially when you see him get beat on the first time. It's like, all right, like, come on, bro. Like, make the adjustment. I feel like and he's been solid, but you can't continue to put guys in those positions where the
But
linebackers don't cover. They just don't do it well. They don't cover guys on wheel rights well. We saw Jerome Baker get beat by the same route, and that's the route he got hurt on.
I would agree.
You can't put those guys in that position. Put a nickel in the game. Put a nickel corner. Put a corner in the game, and put a corner on him, and put Duke Riley's ass in the box where he needs to be. He doesn't need to be out there playing guys in the slot. Van Ginkel doesn't need to be playing guys in the slot. That's just inviting Lamar to say, "Oh shit, you gonna play him on him," and that's what you're doing. Like, you can't do that. I feel like we got to do a better job of putting guys in a position to be successful. And I don't think Vic Fangio is doing that.
I would agree for the most part, but in those two particular plays, there was a play to be made. Again, it was a simple adjustment that Duke Riley should have made. They ran the same play, got the same results. He got picked off twice in the same format. That's not a coaching issue. That's a player issue.
But when you see your player get beat on it, what do you think you should do? What do you do?
Well, you go to him, you pull up the Microsoft tablet, you screenshot the play, right? You highlight where he went wrong at. You tell him what to do different in the event we run the same play call the next go round, and you have faith and you have confidence in your player who has, from a coverage standpoint, has been very good since since he's been the starter, right? And you just put confidence in that player that, okay, well, as opposed to going under that pick, you need to go over it and adjust to that route concept. And you just put faith in your players. He just didn't execute. Now, again, Fangio deserves a lot of criticism. Don't get me wrong, but in those particular two plays that you just highlighted, I don't put that on Fangio. That's on Duke Riley, bro.
I get what you're saying, bro. When Duke Riley on the play is matched up with a running back, and when the receiver is out there and he's running that pick, he's trying to rub off of him. It's going to be a tough play for him to cover. He's just not in a position to do it. But I mean, we'll see, man. They got to make the adjustments. I'm just not happy with the defense at all, bro. I'm
gonna be honest with you, CB. Like, and again, I don't want to be negative about our team because I want nothing but positive things for our team this year. But kind of, with Xavier Howard going down, with Jalen Phillips out, now Bradley Chubb, I felt like we could absorb the hit that we were going to take with Jalen Phillips, right? You look at the analytics, like, we didn't even miss a beat in terms of pressure, sacks, quarterback hits, etc., run defense, etc. We didn't miss a beat when Jalen Phillips went down. But I felt like Bradley Chubb was the guy that we could not afford to lose, just from a depth standpoint.
Yeah.
And now you lose him. And on top of that, your second best corner in the same game, Vic Fangio has got his work cut out for him, because that is two major components, right, that you have to be able to, with freedom, call plays consistently how you see fit, right? Everybody has a philosophy, offense, defense, and special teams, on how they like to call things, how they like to do things at this level. And now that you don't have you can make a case they're two of your more important pieces. I mean, that's going to compromise everything that he wants to do. Now he's got to step out of his comfort zone and do a lot of unconventional things relative to what he likes to do in terms of moving forward. And now he's going to be expected to get the same results that he was getting. That is a tough spot to be in. And again, I don't feel sorry for him. This is the NFL, but this is the reality of the situation. So I'm hoping they can figure it out, to your point you alluded to in your opening monologue, CB. Hopefully, this is going to have to be Vic Fangio's most masterful job as a coach, right? Now that you are down severely, vastly undermanned now, bro. So
and that's why this ain't on Vic Fangio. Listen, he has to figure out a way to be competitive, right? But look at all the guys down. Your two bookend, basically pass rushers, right? They're both out for the remainder of the season.
Yeah.
This ain't a defense. And again, I believe this from week one. This ain't a defensive-minded football team. I don't give a fuck that you got Jalen Ramsey. I don't care that you went and got.
Oh no, Lou. I mean, there's some pushback there because
Again,
I feel like this team is
this has to be.
this team
This
was
is
built.
a pass. This is
But
a offensive-minded football team. CB.
Lou, come
Your
on
head coach.
now.
You can say what you want. Listen,
But because you gotta look, you gotta look.
But I agree.
Look,
Hold on,
Lou.
CB. Hold on, real quick. Just let me.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
You guys were talking about the defense. I don't know why we moved up the offense so quick. The fact of the reminder is right. I thought it was a great show last night with Reason, EM, and Martin. And I heard Martin touch on something last night that I completely agree with, right? If you're in that building now, especially Mike McDaniel, guys like Daryl Bevel, you got to make sure Tua understands. Listen, you're 20 quarters away from winning the whole thing. From changing the next. Yeah. So Tua is the one that has to be better. The offense is going to have to carry us through this playoff run. The defense is going to have to keep us in games. They're going to have to figure it out. But you think that you're going to get the same. What was EM just talking about? There's no way in hell. Bradley Chubb now out. Jalen Phillips already been out. Holland in and out of the lineup, right? There's no way you can execute what you've been trying to execute or what you've been doing for the past 4, 5, 6 game run. There's no way. But that offense has to figure it out. That offense has to carry you.
But
period. It is what it is.
You're right.
CB.
You're right. So the offense. But what you gotta feel, what you're failing to realize here, Lou, is that this team was built defensively, right? It was built defensively through the Flores era, right? Now, through the Flores era, it was focused on defense solely. You can't change that overnight, right? And you bring in pieces. You brought in pieces to make it stronger, right? You brought in Jalen Ramsey. You brought in David Long Jr. You brought in guys who you thought would be integral pieces in making the defense better than it was last year, right? So I don't think you can solely say. I think this defense underachieved in the past, right? I think this defense underachieved in the past, and that's why you were like, man, like we could be so much better.
CB.
Let me go change the direction of the defense. Let me get a better leader.
Okay, you can go.
Have them
you can
figure
do all
it
that.
out. Right.
And you can do all that, CB. That's fine. But you see, you brought in Jalen Ramsey. Cool. I get it. He's a great name, great player. I get it. You also brought in Chosen Anderson. You also brought in Claypool. You also brought in this guy Shorts, right? Don't make it seem like the offense is not bringing people in here.
Yeah, the offense.
If we're going to be honest,
it should be balanced. If we're being honest, it should be balanced.
If we're going to be
there, you go. I was going to say that 100%. I agree with that.
It has to be balanced. But this offense hasn't looked the same in the past 4 to 5 weeks. It just hasn't. They have not played well the last 4 or 5 weeks. There's been moments, yes, the 30-0 against the Jets, we get it. But I wanted to touch on something when Ian brought up the analogy between LeBron and Tua, right? And the basketball versus football analogy. You're absolutely correct. But those teams that LeBron was playing on, right, his first 7 years in the league were trash. He was carrying those teams. And then he got to Miami. They loaded him around. Great players that had championships, right? Dwayne Wade had already won. Chris Bosh was an established winner. Pat Riley being the leader, right? Okay, cool. Mike McDaniel's played in Super Bowls. He knows what it takes to get there. Teron Armstead, I believe, has a Super Bowl. Tyreek Hill is a Super Bowl winner. This is year 2. You don't have 82 games in the NFL season. You got 17 weeks. You got to figure this shit out, bro. It's been basically almost 2 full seasons now that Mike McDaniel, guys that played in the Super Bowl. You got guys on this roster that have won Super Bowls. Tyreek last year, Jalen Ramsey, to your point, CB, you just added them this year. Don't tell me those guys don't know how to win. Don't tell me those guys don't know how to be in the big game.
I never said those guys didn't know how. I said Tua didn't. And I said Mike McDaniel didn't know how to win. And again, real quick. Yeah, Mike McDaniel has coached in Super Bowls, but look who he sat up and learned from. The same guy, right, who he was in the Super Bowl with, what plagued San Francisco in them 2 Super Bowl losses? Inconsistent play calling.
Absolutely.
So look who he sat up and learned under.
And I agree, EM. All I'm saying is, to CB point earlier when y'all were talking about it, and I wish I could have jumped in, CB said it's about the window. That's cool. LeBron had that window or whatever. In basketball, you had that window. Miami, we don't have this window, bro. The time is now. The time is this year and next year. You can't tell me that we're just going to sit here, and we got to, it's going to take time. Bro, we don't have it.
And that's what. But that's what I was saying.
That's the reality, Lou. I mean, bro, it is what it is. I mean, again,
the reality is
no. My only question is this.
I think
100%. 100%. But
look, don't squander the opportunity. This is my thing, right? You got a lot. I mean, the AFC has never been more for the taking than right now, right? So don't squander your opportunity and flush this one down the drain because you can't figure it out down the stretch. I mean, this team we faced adversity before, right? We faced adversity before, and we went into Buffalo in the playoffs last year and competed at a high level, right? So now, I mean, we know we're in the playoffs, and I think we could beat anybody on any given Sunday if they come to play, if they show up, if they get off the bus, right? If they leave the hotel, right? But I mean, you gotta start building some consistency, and you can't go into the playoffs and play these inconsistent games. Like, you can't do that because it's win or go home. So that's what I'm saying. Like, and the pressure is on them right now. They got to figure it out. And they understand that. I think they understand the parameters.
Oh, hell yeah, they know. They understand what is at stake, bro. But at the same time, this is the reality, right? They are both learning and trying to make their way through this league and figure out how to be the best versions of themselves when their team needs them the most. Bro, that's reality. Yeah. Peyton Manning had to go through that. How many years? And again, I'm not putting two in that category, but how many years did we hear the media say Peyton Manning was a regular season quarterback? He can't win in the biggest moments. How many times do we hear that? How many? And again, I'm not saying, listen, this has to happen sooner rather than later. But Peyton Manning, who's considered a top 3 quarterback ever, right, went through that same shit, right? How many coaches did he get fired under when he was the guy? You know, how many coaches did he go through? It took Tony Dungy, right? And Tony Dungy was criticized a lot in that regard in Tampa Bay, right? Trying to figure out how to win at the highest level. Bro, that is a reality. That's the reality.
Well, let me ask you this, EM. Let me ask you this, right? Because you brought up one scenario with Peyton Manning, and I completely agree with you. You're spot on, right? But what about the guys like Dan Marino? What about the guys like Warren Moon? What about all those other guys we can say that they said the same thing about? You got to give them time. You got to see. They got to learn. They never did, though. So you see what I'm saying?
I get it.
I'm not trying to say. I'm just saying there's both sides to the spectrum, right? You can bring
I
up
understand,
Manning, but then other people can bring up Warren Moon and Dan Marino and those kind of guys too. There's more of those guys, EM, than the Peyton Mannings of the world.
I understand, but the reality at the NFL level, bro, is everybody can't win, Lou. Everybody can't win.
Yeah, that's.
But everybody cannot win, bro.
But our goal is to win. So we
absolutely. You can only try. We
gotta figure it out. We gotta figure it out, bro.
But the current application, offense, defense, special teams, right? There, at the end of the day, you just have. Again, it's the ultimate crapshoot. Nobody, just because you construct a roster, and again, this is not.
It don't mean I'm not.
There's no guarantee. It's so many variables that come into this game, right? Basketball is easier, in terms of like an individual player. Like when I bring up LeBron,
you can take over a game, right?
Exactly, bro. Right. It's 11 on 11. You got a 53-man roster. You got so many different moving parts that goes into this freaking game.
Yeah, I get it, but it's still.
I agree.
You still got to figure the shit out.
I agree, but the reality is,
this is.
But the reality is, and again, I'm not making excuses. Hey, but the reality is, in this game, more people don't figure it out than the ones that do.
Oh, true. Hands down. I agree.
And I'm not saying we're on that category. I'm just saying, listen, all we can do is when you evaluate the GM, when you evaluate the coach, when you evaluate the quarterback, the question is, are you doing your job, right? Because again, it's a 53-man roster for a reason. Are you when you're called upon? Are you doing your job? Are you the best version of yourself? And again, Mike McDaniel, Tua, Chris Greer, to some criticism, I think he's kind of recovered and rebounded the last 2 to 3 years in terms of his track record in the draft. But everybody's accountable for what they can control. Everybody's accountable for their specific jobs. And again, if Tua don't get it done, When the moments present themselves to him, well, he needs to be held accountable. Every player, Mike McDaniel, every player on this roster, every member of this organization, the janitor, if they ain't cleaning up at night the way they should be, they need to be held accountable. But at the end of the day, all you can do is put the best application out there, offense, defense, and special teams, and you roll the dice. If you win, good. If you don't, it is what it is, bro.
But see, a lot of fans don't fan like that too. A lot of fans put a lot of pressure on this team to win now, win a Super Bowl now, and I can understand it. I mean, we haven't seen a Super Bowl in a long time. It's been years. So, I'm the type of guy, I want them to win. Of course, I want them to win, right? But I know it's not a requirement of me as a fan. Like I can't force them to go out there and win. And there's a lot of things that the coaching, everything's got to come together, right?
Everything, bro.
And it seems like right now it's falling apart. It does seem like it's falling apart right now, but they can right the ship, right? They can right the ship. They got a home game coming up. I think Buffalo is more than beatable. That we've never seen. I think this Buffalo team, with all the injuries, with all the things they have going on, they're still playing good football. But I think this is the time to beat them. Right?
Hang on real quick, CB. Let me highlight this comment real quick. This Money Mitch. Hang on. Listen. This Money Mitch guy at Lewis, EM and CB got to take this. Of course, they are the biggest two guys. No, I'm the biggest Dolphin guy. Dolphin guy. I mean, so I just wanted to correct him on that.
Look, but I mean, Tua made a couple bad throws. The picks were bad, right? Picks happen in the game, but you gotta limit the turnovers. He can't be that guy. We're not gonna win with him being that guy that turns over the football. It can't happen. So he's got to learn from that, and he's got to go out there and clean that up. And that's what we've seen. We saw Tua throw some picks in that Jets game earlier in the year. Two bad throws, right? So he's got to come out. He did come out and kind of fix that for the most part. He cleaned up the turnovers, but you can't put everything on Tua. I just don't feel like that's fair, especially in regards to this game. Right? You can't.
I agree, CB.
You can't.
Well, and CB, I just wanted to Money Mitch, right? I agree with a lot what EM and CB is saying, and I don't want them. If that's what the comment's going to be, I just want to throw it out there. I am a big Tua guy. I have changed. I think Tua is the guy, right? I'm not anything I'm saying. I expect more from Tua. Right, I'm not saying I hold them to a higher standard than CB
high
or
expectations, bro.
I've heard them criticize Tua when warranted. I think that's what they've done it today. So, but I just wanted to point that out to Money Mitch. I don't want it to be like, oh well, Lewis is up here saying something. I agree with a lot what EM and CB is saying. I just looking at now the injuries on the defensive side of the ball. We've seen kind of the stubbornness that Fangio has. In my opinion, and this I can only speak for myself up here, I'm going to hold the offense to a higher standard. It has turned for me now, and I get everybody wants balance, and the team overall should be balanced. For me, I think if we ultimate to what Martin said yesterday again, shout out to the homie Martin, we need Tua to play the best 20 quarters of his life, right? We need Tua to be the 5th overall pick, the guy that we're about to hand $50 million to. And in my opinion, if Tua does that, whether the defense can, all you need the defense, in my opinion, to do that is to keep us in the game. Because I've seen Tua win us games like Baltimore last year, like the Chargers game week 1. I've seen this offense carry us. And what I believe, gentlemen, is if you get that kind of play from the offense and Tua specifically, we can still ultimately end up where we all want to be, right? Like, I think if Tua plays well next Sunday night, we're beating Buffalo. That means we get the number 2 seed. We're playing 2 games at least in the playoffs at home. I think, again, it's going to be Tua that's going to carry us, fellas, in my opinion. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But that's just what I believe.
Well, I think, in terms of, I do agree with Martin to some degree. But in terms of if I'm Mike McDaniel and I'm presenting and I'm having that conversation with Tua, I'm not focused on 20 quarters. I'm focused on one. We need to focus on what is the first quarter, the next down, the next play. That's what the focus needs to be, because I feel like when you project and you try to, forecast, right, weeks ahead, especially coming off a loss like this, that's adding additional pressure to that quote unquote fragile player, right? It again, when the moments are big, when that seat is at its hottest, right? No, you need to focus on increments. No, it's not time to focus on 20 quarter. And again, no shade at the homie. I got nothing but the most love and respect for Martin, but that is where we part ways to some degree. We need to focus on the next play, period, not the next 20.
Yeah, man, and I'm looking at this play right now, and it just bothers me, man. I'm looking at the play he threw the interception in the 2 minute area. It's just, bro, it's a bad play.
Look at the backside. Look at the backside. It's not a bad play, CB. It's a bad execution from Tua. Look at that backside scene.
Well,
look
the backside,
at your bro.
That's what I was. That's
wide open, CB. That's not a bad play. That's not a bad play.
It's a bad play from Tua. That's what I meant. It's
okay. It's not It's not a bad. It's not a bad play call. It's a bad. It's bad execution. Is what the issue
Absolutely.
is.
Just for it, because honestly, it's 1st and 10, bro. It's 1st and 10. You have a guy underneath right in front of you. Then Jeff Wilson Jr. out the backfield.
And CB, what is Tua looking at right there? It's not like the man had 5 yards of separation.
It's not.
I mean,
it's not.
Bro,
it's just forcing.
What is he looking at? You got one guy in his back pocket. You got the linebacker clearly sliding over. Because again, he was reading Tua the whole time. Tua was staring the man down for 3 weeks, bro. It was like he sat there for 3 weeks staring this man down and allowed that linebacker to get in position and Tua steady through. Again,
bro,
that is an area of Tua's game that he definitely needs to get significantly, because it happens at times, bro. It happens.
Fix it. He's got to fix it.
And it happens at the most inopportune time. When you can ill afford to make a catastrophic mistake like that. And we've seen Tua do it. We've seen him do it at Alabama. And again, I'm glad y'all are finally waking up to that. And again, I'm not ready to move off of Tua. But this is an area of his game that's significantly weak.
But it's not really waking up to it, Em. I mean, we know he's had that bonehead decision making thing in him for a while. Like, he's had it in him. He's just has tailored it down. So Mike McDaniel has done a good job of just coaching him out of that. Hey, don't make the decision. Don't force it if you don't have to.
And he's not a what? Again, he's not a. I see Bones in the chat talking about he's a one. He's not a one read guy, bro. That's ridiculous. When you evaluate the tape in its totality, no, you see Tua.
He's one read.
You see Tua go through progressions. You see him get off of one again. He just has bad habits, a habit of
looking at a guy.
All quarterbacks do this, bro.
That quarterbacks
all quarterbacks do this.
They do it.
All of them do this. This is not only a Tua issue. This is a league-wide quarterback in the National Football League issue.
Yeah, and that's what bothers me about this play. And we're gonna watch it. I don't care. I don't care if I get copyright strike or whatever, bro. When it comes to this play, and punch the like button for me, guys. We got 93 in the building. Shout out to everybody for pulling up.
Running them numbers up.
They love this. The Wolf Pack is out now, so that's why I think. That's why I think my numbers so high.
They Wolf Pack in the day for sure.
They follow me everywhere I go. They follow me everywhere I go. Don't worry.
Them your people, bro.
They Wolf Packing for sure.
And they my people now. Okay. All right.
I mean, so looking at the play here, it's like, man, like, you have time. Everything is there in front of you.
You can't blame the O-line.
You can't blame the O-line. Bro, he could have stepped up and ran it if he needed to. It's just
CB, look at his head. What is he seeing there, bro?
But he doesn't. What he doesn't see is Roquan Smith right there. That's what I can guarantee you. One thing he don't see. He don't see Roquan Smith right there, and he's so focused on this guy and his route, he doesn't see the guy underneath. And I do see Smythe backside on the seam, but you got a safety over the top there. It's just, man,
But look
He's
at the
got to
window
make a
where
better play
Smythe is.
there.
Look at the window where, bro, it's nothing but grass in front of him. And you have
Yeah,
been, and bro,
yeah.
and Smythe has been making plays the last 2 games, bro.
Yeah,
Look,
yeah,
look,
I mean, right
look
here,
at that,
look at
look at
that,
that, look.
right
yeah,
there.
Oh.
Yeah.
yeah. He
Again, I think Tua predetermined on
did.
this particular
He
play.
did predetermine who he was
Before they
going
got out
to.
the huddle, he had his mind made up of where he was going to throw the football in this instance, right?
Yeah.
I'm not saying he does that 90% of the time. No, like a lot of people try to sell that narrative in the community, right? No.
Yeah,
What I'm
yeah.
saying is on this play, he predetermined his read and he didn't get off. And again, I just don't get what not only this interception, but the second one. Why are you throwing in those windows? And again, we talked about this before, right? You remember we talked privately.
He's terrible with throwing in those windows, and he's usually sometimes he can fit it in there, right? And he's made some plays. He
has
these
but
type
listen,
of balls, right?
But CB Lou, if you recall a couple weeks ago when we talked about this same issue about the windows that Tua is throwing in, what did I say? Right? I said, yeah, you can get away with it early in the season, but as you get further into the season and you play upper tier competition, right? Those windows get small, and ultimately get into the postseason. Those windows get smaller, bro. Right? Those windows start to shrink, and you don't want to live in an area where you got to make a perfect throw on 90% of your dropbacks.
Yeah.
Who wants to live in that realm, bro?
I don't think nobody does, EM. But I'll pose a question to you two guys, right? And I'm with you, EM. He doesn't do it all the time, but I think the one thing that I think McDaniel has done, maybe to a fault of Tua, right, is he's been programmed so much that this is a timing and rhythm based offense, right? And maybe the offensive line being shuffled, Tua has some worries. But when I watch this play here, it just feels like at certain times of the game, to you guys' point, once let's say pre-snap, he just already decides, well, I'm going here no matter what. If he already determines that, I think it's more McDaniel and this system has a tool. When that back foot hits, balls has to be out, right? It's 3-step, get it out, 5-step here. And when I watch this play, right, the pocket is there, CB and EM. If Tua can just hold on to the ball, right, and I think that's going to be the next elevation or evolution of this offense. That's when I think you'll see the best form of this offense. Because all Tua has to do is hold on to that ball half a second longer, a second longer. Maybe shift your body and just scan the whole field. Tua wouldn't miss Jerome Smythe. Tua wouldn't miss Jeff Wilson underneath, right? And I think
I would agree.
Tua's just been programmed. Hey, it's a 3-step drop, ball out, 5-step ball.
But see,
and I agree
out of that.
And I
you
real
see what
quick,
I'm saying?
and I agree with you there. Like he's been programmed to take what the defense gives you, make the decision quick. As soon as your back foot hits, it needs to be out. But Mike McDaniel has kind of coached him into this robotic mode, and it's like sometimes as quarterbacks you gotta improvise and you gotta use your legs to create other opportunities.
100%.
And I just feel like he doesn't do that enough. He's just so programmed to get the ball out quick, hit the guy in the window. He's gotta, and that, Lou, I think you're spot on. I think that's something that has to develop within his game. He's gotta, and he's been better off platform throwing this year, but he doesn't really take the chances. He doesn't do it a lot. He won't move.
Well, we've had this conversation privately months ago, right? I posed that question. And it's kind of a double-edged sword with Tua, right? You teach quarterbacks to be timing based, to be accurate, to stay on schedule, right? But there is an element of improvisation that needs to be coached as well. And I do think if Mike McDaniel is this quote unquote genius, or if he's as smart as a lot of people think he is, well, when you're coaching your player, right, about the structure, boom, based off this coverage, this is where you need to go with the football, Tua. You hit that 3 to 5-step drop. But you got to prepare for when the defense takes that. Where there has to be a contingency in place, right? In the event the defense takes that initial read away. Well, it's a double-edged sword with Tua, because Tua coming from Alabama, right? A lot, and I fought to a major degree is that RPO type of approach. When you become so dependent, again, and we know the nature of RPOs, it's designed to address and compromise one half of the field, right? And I think when you've been so RPO dependent in college, right? And that follows you early on. Again, bro, it creates muscle memory, right? That's what it does. It creates habits. And I think with Tua, and again, I highlighted this going back to 2020. I said, I wish they would somewhat get out of being so much RPO dependent with him specifically, because at the NFL level, well, to be the more successful quarterbacks, they consistently evaluate the entire field, right? As opposed to one half. If you just read one half of the field, well, you're not going to be in the league for too long. But I felt like Tua, again, under Mike McDaniel, he's gotten more consistent at that. And there's so much other areas with Tua's game that you love and you fall in love with. But I just think specifically this issue, right, about him in particular, when again, and I don't want to say he chokes, right? He's a choke artist.
But we see, bro.
But see a choke.
My God!
I saw Omar Kelly's tweet he put out about Tua. I know y'all saw it about him choking under the pressure, right?
Absolutely.
See to me, a choke artist, right? They're never they're 90% when those opportunities present itself. They fall and they choke under when the lights are the brightest. But with Tua, we've seen flashes of Tua putting the team on his back, bro. We've seen that.
And I'm not
we just needed to be more consistent, bro.
And I'm not saying by any means that he's a choker, but I mean, you do have moments where, and I think all quarterbacks have these moments where you can either elevate your team's play or you kind of shrink to the competition, right? And you don't make the plays necessary. I think Tua he's about 50-50 in terms of like moments, right? And people are looking for him to kind of get over the hump, right? I think people are looking for him to get towards being 75% good in the moments versus 25% bad in the moments. I think people want to see it more often. And I think everybody wants to see it more often. I mean, you got guys like Dan Marino in that room watching film with you, right? I mean, he's got to have a tough conversation with you. He's got to say, hey, son, in this moment, you can't make that throw. That's a terrible throw. And you're putting your team in a bad situation. So not only did you, throw a pick, but you gave them an opportunity to go down and score a touchdown, right? So with 1 minute left, a minute and a half left in the game. So it's like, man, it's just, you got to figure it out. And he's got to figure it out sooner than later, because it's 4 years now, and the Miami Dolphins are going to have to make a decision about him being the long-term quarterback, right? Do you think if he continues to shrink in these moments and he shrinks in the playoffs, that Miami is just going to hand over the $40 to $50 million contract? Do you think that happens? I mean, that's the real conversation you got to have, because in the moments you got to figure it out. And if he's not figuring it out, it's tough to commit to a guy long term who isn't making the plays in the necessary moments.
Well, I'll say this in regards to that specifically, right, about the contract negotiations. I think Tua has done enough the last 2 years to warrant a future consideration. But in terms of like making him the highest paid guy in the league, well, no, you can always, from a Dolphins perspective, add language into the contract to kind of protect yourself in the future, in the event, again, and it could be durability. It could be, I mean, teams negotiate all kind of different clauses in contracts, bro. So, but I do think in terms of a future contract consideration, you can't ignore the production that you've gotten from Tua. And this is my argument with that portion of the fan base. You cannot ignore numbers, right? It's like everybody, right, when they're talking about, when they have an argument about a player on this team, right? First thing they do is bring up numbers, right? Everybody does that. But with Tua, the numbers don't matter. Bro, make it make sense. You can't have it both ways. So based off, you cannot ignore the level of production you're getting from him. The numbers don't lie, bro. Period. And so from that perspective, he's done enough to warrant future consideration. But you're just not gonna make him the highest paid guy. You're not gonna reset the market.
The production, who was it against though?
It don't matter. I mean, that's still an NFL team, bro.
I mean, it
That's
is,
that's
but
still an NFL quality team.
in,
I
in
mean,
in the
it, it,
moments, he's got to figure it out, right?
I agree, CB. That's what I'm saying. The Dolphins can protect themselves. I'm talking about contractually,
Yeah.
right? They can put language, they can implement language in that contract that's saying, look, Tua, if we get to the AFC Championship game, or look at Jalen Hurts. Was it Jalen Hurts that got that big bonus about if they made who was that? Was that Jalen Hurts? Had to be Jalen Hurts. I think he had a big last year. He had a clause kicked in his contract that if they got to a certain point playoff wise, he got a significant bonus, right?
Oh,
And
right. I see
again,
what you're saying. Yeah.
so you can implement all kind of different languages and clauses in the contracts to kind of
The Dolphins are going to
to kind of
protect
protect
themselves.
yourself. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah.
So because at the end of the day, Tua has been healthy this year, but at the end of the day, it's still just only 1 year. And
Yeah.
I don't think I think just because Tua was healthy this year primarily, that the Dolphins need to just absolutely ignore the fact that he ain't been healthy in every other year he's played, football at some level, high school, pro, college, as well as pros. So again, I want to reiterate, I want to be clear. Based off the production we've seen from him, he definitely warrants, future consideration as the guy, at least earn the opportunity. Now, in terms of resetting the market, what type of number that is, that's a tough situation the Dolphins are in, and they're gonna have to figure that out.
Yeah.
So, but
right, and I mean, and I think that's where it is, and I'm convinced that Tua is a little half field dependent. Right, he does typically focus on one side of the field, and he has a hard time getting his head around to the next side. Right, and they usually do it in levels. Like they'll give him a throw underneath, a middle portion throw, and then one that's further down the field. But when he is limited to two receivers on one side, and he's trying to force the ball in the windows, he does make some bad decisions sometimes, and he's got to find a way to get off and get over to the other side, right? And it just has limited him as a quarterback. And when players say, hey, we know he's going to stare guys down, or we know he's going to focus on one side of the field when he's dropping back, I mean, they're being honest. I mean, they're being completely honest. But that's something that Mike McDaniel and him need to work through. And his quarterback coach, they need to figure that out.
And CB, based off the production, has he earned the opportunity has he earned the opportunity from the fans, from the organization, to get the opportunity to get better? Has he earned that?
Of course.
In your estimate? Okay, well then that's where we are. That's all we can ask for.
Yeah.
That's all we can ask for.
Yeah, for sure. And
let me ask another tough question though.
Okay.
Let's say you lose to Buffalo, and it's a first round exit.
Ooh.
We talked about this privately.
Ooh.
Now we're on the big stage, right? So now people can hold us accountable. What changes for you guys would you have to see if that was the scenario, right? You lose, you just lost to yesterday, who did we just play? I'm drawing a blank.
Baltimore.
Okay, so you lose to the Ravens. You end the season losing to the Ravens, right? Losing to Buffalo, first wild card weekend, your first round exit. What changes need to be made? Or what changes do you make? Or how do you move forward with this team? Because that's the real conversation.
I think first and foremost, you got to get healthy, bro. And I know people don't want to hear that, and they act like, having starter quality players go down, especially as many as we had this year, they act like that don't matter, right? They expect every player to just next man up, and there not be a level of regression overall, offense, defense, or special
so you're
teams,
running
right?
It back? So you're running it back?
I mean, absolutely. You have no choice.
Yeah, you gotta. So this is what I'm definitely running it back, but I gotta make some adjustments. The Jerome Bakers of the world, some of these guys who are kind of on the cusp of being, like tweeners on the field and off the field. I think some of those guys you're gonna need to move off of some of those guys, and you need to bring in some O-line. You need to bring in some better offensive lines, some guys who can stay healthy. That's got to happen. And I think the receiver room is solid, but the offensive line's got to get better. And defensively, you got to figure something out because, I mean, this defense should be stronger than what it is versus good teams.
Yeah,
right? They've
but
been
thi-
good.
but thi-
They've been good
But
versus the.
But this
the
is this is
no,
this is
no,
what
they,
I hear
lessers.
no,
when I
they.
hear about running it back though. Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips ain't gonna be ready to go until what,
I would agree.
midway
Well,
of
yeah.
next
Yeah.
season. Like what
That
are we talking
well,
about here?
there
Running it
need.
back.
Yeah, no. What? Okay. What do you mean by? Okay, when we talk about running the back, we're talking about Tua, right? Specific for the most part.
Oh no, I was just talking
he's
from
talking
a
about in
team
general.
perspective,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Oh,
bro, that would be a massive failure. And again, listen, we talked about this privately. Now we're kind of holding things back. If this team has a 3-game collapse at the end of the season, knowing where we were playing for the number 1 seed, you lose to the Ravens, you lose to Buffalo, you're out wild card weekend. That's unacceptable.
So what's the alternative? What
It
is
is
the
unacceptable.
alternative?
And again, I'm not saying, bro. But so we can't just say, oh, again, I understand what's the alternative. That's what I'm asking. But I can't just sit here and say, well, you know what? We can run it back. Everything's gonna be great. Don't worry about it. We'll get them next season. No.
No. So you don't agree. So you mean it?
Something has to change.
What I said was, you asked me what's the strategy. I'm paraphrasing, but this is what you said. What I said was the primary goal, initial goal, is to get healthy. You mean to tell me if our O-line, if Isaiah Wynn hadn't gone down, Connor Williams hadn't gone down, Robert Hunt hadn't gone down, you mean to tell me we wouldn't be a much better version offensively? Is that what you sit up there telling me?
No. I agree with you. And those guys, yes, I'm saying I do think we should bring those guys back and stuff. But I'm saying for you guys are just trying to tell me that the defense has to figure it out and they got to get better. Bro, Bradley Chubb ain't week 1. Bradley Chubb ain't on the field.
Right.
What we doing at DL?
Obviously, you're going to have.
You're going with depth there.
Obviously, you're gonna have. I mean, bro, you got the draft coming up. You got you're gonna make again. Okay, well, if you want to be blatantly obvious, well, yeah, you're gonna make additions, bro. That's why you got the draft.
That's
right.
Obvious.
Absolutely. Yeah. But what I'm saying again, I took what for the most part. You were talking about. Well, I assume you were talking about Tua A and then B, the team as a whole. Absolutely. I'm trying to get as many of these high quality players that we lost this year under contract and bringing them back because, bro, they were at the highest level. When the O-line was intact, we had the best fucking O-line in football from a run standpoint as well as passing standpoint. Fuck out of here. What are y'all talking about in the chat? Talking about, oh my God, don't run it back with them. Are you kidding?
I think, yeah, but I think it's hard to say run it back with some of these guys because they haven't shown you that they can stay healthy. So I think that's the tough part too. Is like
I'm willing to gamble. I'm willing to take the gamble based off the production that we saw, right, from Isaiah Wynn, from Connor Williams, from Robert Hunt. I'm willing to gamble on that. I'm willing to take based off the level of play that we saw them consistently when they were healthy this year.
Yeah,
bro, come on. What are y'all talking about?
But
they need to stop putting all this goddamn casual energy in the fucking community, bro. It's ridiculous.
I think people are upset right now.
Oh, turn up, EM.
EM turning up on y'all.
But that's the problem. And
they're emotional. They're emotional.
Since 2019, I've been addressing this same issue that's been plaguing his fan base, right? They are completely emotional. They completely succumb to their emotions about players, about coaches, about everything. They make knee-jerk reactions as opposed to sitting back, letting things play out, and then you assess the complete body of work. But one loss right now, these same people, right, that's been overly critical, I feel like now, today, this morning, coming off the loss, right? Couple weeks ago when the team was winning, we're Super Bowl champions. We're the best team in the league. You know what I mean? Tua's the best quarterback in the league. You know what I mean? Make it make sense. Make it make sense.
But honestly, and that's real. I mean, and I think it's okay for teams to have bad games. I think that's a part of the process, right? I think it's okay for teams to have bad games, but it also is concerning when when you can't beat good football teams, and I think Dallas is a good football team, so that was a step in the right direction. But when you come out and just get manhandled like this versus Baltimore, it was ugly. But I think if we went to play not Buffalo, but by the Ravens, it was ugly. But I think if we go to play the Ravens in the playoffs, I think you may see a different game, right? And I think that's what happens, and I think that's football, right? I think that's the parity of the NFL from week to week. You can play good teams have bad games, and bad teams have good games. I think that happens. So I do like what EM says is like, hey, you got to let it play out. You got to watch it, and you got to be a spectator, and you got to see how it happens. You got to see how it happens down the stretch. But losing 3 straight games and being bounced in the first round would be a very bad situation. And people would be looking at Mike McDaniel, Chris Greer, like, what happened? Right?
They looking at him sideways,
right.
that for sure.
They're looking at him sideways right now. People are ready to turn on Mike McDaniel and the organization very quickly.
I don't know if y'all heard Big O, but I heard Big O's show last. Bro, he was killing Mike McDaniel.
He was killing Mike McDaniel.
Yeah. But Mike McDaniel has to own some of this though. Like, I mean,
I agree. I agree. Listen,
he's the head honcho.
CB, Lou, listen. Back to Big O real quick, right? He was killing him, right?
Why was he killing him? There's a couple.
His situational play calling. Again, the question: why are you having Bradley Chubb out on the field when you're down 50, right, with 3 minutes to go?
Don't make no
why
sense.
You took all of your O-line out, right? You took all of your starters out on offense. Why are you leaving that man out there? You had taken your starters on offense out. Why is that man left out on the field, right? And I agree with that, but here's the thing with Big O. He took a massive dump on Mike McDaniel. I understand that, and to some degree, I agree. He deserves a lot of criticism. But what he left open for interpretation is he left the implication out there that he's being told that if Mike McDaniel don't get it done, reroute this ship and get this, get the team back to where it needs to be. Going into the next offseason, going into this offseason, that seat is scorching hot. He left that open for interpretation.
Wow.
So listen, you can say what you want about Big O, but Big O is one of the more plugged individuals in the community. He has direct, open line of communication to certain members of the team.
Y'all ready to fire McDaniel?
Hey, bro, go back and pull that clip up of his post game. Go his post game show. He took, bro, and again, he left that open for. He didn't come out and say, "This is what I was told. I was told this. I was told that." He didn't say that. He left it open for interpretation because he left the implication there. Is what he did. If you really listen to how he worded things,
man, boy, that's an interesting take. Interesting take for sure. I thought this was a great conversation, and I think we need to continue to have conversations like this. I think this Miami Dolphins football team, they got to right the ship. I mean, you turn the page, the page on that one, and you move on.
I want some of these idiots in the chat, bro, that's kind of pushing back on what my narratives were up here. Hey, man, let a few of them up real quick. I want to hear. I want to hear some different perspectives. CB.
I thought they were going to watch the game. I didn't know people were. If people hang around, if y'all give me the thumbs up in the chat, I'll hang around a little bit.
CB, how many people we got in here right now? CB, I can't see.
We got 110. 110.
And you trying to shut it down with 110?
Hey.
What you talking about, CB?
The game don't start till what? Oh, yeah, it's 5. It starts at what, 5 o'clock you all's time, for my time. We ain't gonna be up here for 2 hours. We can. I just want to hear some different perspectives. That's all.
So what I'm gonna do is
that nigga Trey, by the way, I see him. He commented earlier. I definitely want him to pull up.
Calling people out. I'm gonna bring on one person at a time. I'm not gonna pull up.
Crypto. I want Crypto to come up here and try to turn up. Try is the operative word. Try to turn up. Because he was pushing back a little bit in the chat. It was several of them fools in the chat.
You can come up here and talk football. I'm bringing on a couple people at a time, or one or two people at a time, and we're gonna get after. We'll just have some conversation. We'll get you guys' thoughts real quick, and Pull up. The link is in the chat, and nobody's back here yet. I think they may be a little scared of y'all boys, man. I don't know.
Oh, see that?
Where Von Joe at? I saw Von Joe in the
Oh,
chat.
damn! Oh, he called. I saw.
Oh,
shit!
I saw Von Joe.
I saw Von Joe in the chat, bro. I saw him earlier. I don't know what happened.
I saw color.
Hey, somebody go tag that nigga. Hey, damn! My bad.
Hey, you know Sharif gonna come up first, man. Sharif, talk to us, man. What you got for us?
Oh, that's EM's man right there. That's
hey,
EM's man.
Get him.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man.
I'm not necessarily going to disagree with nothing because I think both EM and Lewis were explaining their perspective based on, we built this team 4 years ago, Cesar Ruiz, we all were in the war room, EM. And then 4 years now later, it's just not going to be he's in 2 year of McDaniel's system. It's just not going to be, McDaniel needs another year like Gase, like Flores. It's just not going to be that because you have a jaded perspective from Big O. Then you got the reason why Big O is jaded is because he's seen over 25 years of this from the 67 to 7. Big O is gonna look at it and say, "You're toying around with my heart again, like a girlfriend who's popular, and I'm losing my mind over her."
And I get that, and I think a lot of people are in that space where they just kind of like, man, we need to be better. Like we're tired of losing. I think, I
agree with that. I don't push back on that, bro. Only reason why I brought up Big O was Mike McDaniel specifically. The door he left open in terms of Mike McDaniel being on the hot seat if they flame out, Sunday. And also, if they flame out, once we get in the playoffs. That's the only reason why I brought that up. I don't quote Big O often or anything. I'm not even a fan of Big O. I'm just saying what he brought up.
Nobody's going to take 2 years in the system. He needs a third year in McDaniel's system. EM.
Oh, shit. He said
he in the back.
Somebody pulled up.
Here we go.
Oh, okay.
Hey, but Sharif.
Don't make that happen, CB. Going to make that happen real quick.
Another thing, CB. Two things, right?
Real quick. Make it quick.
I told everyone that McDaniel stunted Tua's growth about 5 weeks ago. The reason being is, yes, you're coming off your back foot in 1.9 seconds, but now what if they jump that lane, right? Or what if they take your
off.
Now he can't anymore because he's really stunted that would EM and I would call putting him in a pro set as a rookie. So now 4 years later, because he's
EM and I. Oh shit!
He's now dialed in. EM knows where I'm coming from because if you put him in a pro set behind Fitz, he would have learned how to do this. But because he does it now, he's dialing to 1.9 seconds, plant my back foot, and then everybody's ice cream over Tua. But now we're seeing him way out of his element, and now F the offensive line's injury. Most quarterbacks, which is Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes and Lamar Jackson,
sit back there.
Most quarterbacks just can't do that.
But you know what, though? I want to be clear, Sharif. No, I don't think Tua is way at his element. I think Tua has gotten incrementally better in this area, right? He just needs to take it even a bigger leap in this area of his game, bro.
But EM, we've always seen he's never seeing the same. Smythe was open a dozen times. Every time he's coming out of his element, he's not seeing the guy, and then he cannot come back through progressions. It's all the time. And then beyond making
that's not what the analytics say, Sharif. That's not, and that's not what the film says, bro. We can't sit here and say and be absolute about.
You can't say definitively.
You can't, bro. No, because there's been film. There's been consistent film out there where Tua is going through and he's progressing to where he should be. It's just.
What I'm saying is,
hey, Sharif, hang around. I'm actually gonna get somebody else on, but hang around in the
Is it who I think it is? Is it who I think it is?
Hey, CB, real quick.
Oh, shit, he pulled up.
Hold on.
Hey, just for the record, real quick, I want everybody to know in the chat that Sharif said EM and I agree. So I just want to throw
you know you's a hoe for that. You know you's a hoe for that.
Hey,
you know you's a hoe for that.
They got the same take.
Let's get to the homie. Let's get to the homie. Vonjo, what's good? Happy New Year to you,
Happy
bro.
New Year, Vonjo.
Salute.
DJ, you good?
Happy New Year, gentlemen. First of all, let me start off the year right. I'd say Sharif was wrong. Because he's on some McDaniel stunted to his growth. If anybody that's stunted to his growth is Flores, because of that offense that he implemented, which was a quick read offense, and it wasn't a pro style offense.
Oh shit!
So we
Don't
could
say that around
Flores.
Lou. Careful now,
So
Vonjo. Don't say that around Lou.
Hey,
You know,
don't talk
hold on.
Flores.
He's been wolfpacking all day
in the
now.
chat.
You don't want him.
in
You
the
don't want him to
chat
take
now.
that wolfpacking to another level. Now, be careful.
Listen again. I'm just saying we got to call it fair.
Yeah.
I support Flores at times, and at the same time, if you're gonna blame somebody for stunting his growth, our quarterback's growth, you can't put that on McDaniel at all. But I gotta disagree with EM when he said about next year and people coming back, and I stand on that. This year was, if you look at, and this is just looking at the landscape of the NFL, this year is our year. You are not going to have injuries across the league like this at an unprecedented level where you have so many starting quarterbacks going down, starting running backs going down. And at the same time, I still don't give injuries an excuse. And the reason why I refuse to give injuries an excuse is look at what's going on in Cleveland. Somebody here tell me that Cleveland's supposed to be where they at right now. I dare anybody to tell me that. After they lost Chubb, their best player, they lost Watson, their quarterback, and they lost other pieces on the O-line. And yet they clinched.
Was Watson performing at a Pro Bowl level?
No, he was not. But they do.
So they got better with Joe Flacco. They got better. They upgraded with Joe Flacco.
Off the shelf. Me and Joe Flacco was
whatever.
At 24-hour
whatever. If he was stocking shelves at Kroger overnight, at the end of the day, he's performing. He's been an upgrade over Deshaun Watson.
Agreed. But they lost their best player, which is their running back. And they lost him.
Okay, you got Kareem Hunt in there. You got a lot of depth, right? You got a lot of depth behind him.
Did they not lose pieces in their secondary and in their O-line?
Who they lose in their secondary?
Who did I believe
they lost Del Pitt. They lost Del Pitt and some other guys.
Yeah, they did lose pieces. And again, Stefanski has made it work with what he's gotten. And I've said that he's the coach of the year, hands down, with what he's dealt with. So I mean, I'm not giving injuries an issue. No, injuries happen. But
real quick though, Vonjo. Real quick, let me address that real quick specifically. I'm gonna get the floor right back to you. Right? Okay, you just said they made it work, right? They look at where they are, right?
Correct.
Okay. And they did have injuries, but you can make a case. We've had even more higher end players go down, right? You talk about the best center in football. You're talking about a top 5 guard, right? Isaiah Wynn was a top 10 guard when he was healthy, right? You talk about Javon Holland isn't playing at an all pro level. How long was his first game back was on Sunday? How long was he out? A month and change, right? Yeah. Xavier Howard in and out of the lineup all year. Your starting middle linebacker, Jerome Baker, out of the lineup. Who knows if he's coming back or not, right? Jalen Phillips, arguably your best pass rusher, gone for the year. So
I thought you said Ogba, because Ogba was a healthy scratch.
Hang on to your point. These are your words, not mine. Mm-hmm. You said they had some key significant injuries and they made it work. Well, guess what? You can make a case we had even more higher end quality players that went down, right, to season-ending injuries. But guess what? We're in the same boat that they're in. Matter of fact, we're in a better position than what they're in.
And exactly. And that's why I sit there and say, listen, at the end of the day, the results at the end of the year needs to be the results at the end of the year, injury or not. That's what I'm saying. I'm not putting injuries as an excuse anywhere in this league.
You can't. I can't. You can't. I can't use the injury excuse because it's like, bro, we already know people going down. That's the nature of the game. That's the nature of the game.
Yeah. I'm not making an excuse, but I'm just saying, let's not act like those injuries don't matter, bro.
It's real.
It matters, but at the same time, I can't sit there and say, hey, all right, you know what? I'm gonna give you a mulligan for that. I can't.
It's definitely context.
Next year, when you take a look at the landscape, brother, it doesn't get any easier for us next year. If anything, it's going to be harder because we are going to lose pieces next year. Just cap alone, we are going to lose pieces. We're in a situation where we're either going to have to gamble on the future. Okay, but not in.
Bonjo, you better go for you get fired, bro. I want you to get.
No, I'm not working today. I start working again tomorrow. I'm at my sister's house. We have some
okay, cool. I don't want you to get fired now.
Man.
You know what? You know what? Stevie gonna always be around. You gonna have many opportunities to go at his neck, bro. Don't let Stevie get you fired.
I've been off since the 15th. I'll go back tomorrow.
Oh man.
But check it, like on another level, we are going to lose pieces. Contracts alone, you have. And tell you the truth, I'm worried. One of the contracts I'm worried about that nobody's really talking about is Haaland. Yeah, it's the last year of his contract, but based on what he will experience this year, who said that he doesn't want his extension before he touches that field again?
Yeah, I mean it's gonna be tough, bro. Keeping pieces around gonna be tough. That's why I think you need to win, and if you win, you know guys are more inclined to take the deals, right? If you don't win. They're gonna be like, bro, I'm out. I'm about to go get my money because I don't see it.
Exactly, guys gonna get their money, but you got to replace them with discounted players or players that are on their last leg of their year that's gonna come here and try to win the Super Bowl. But Tua has to show us that he's the guy to elevate the talent around him, not be a byproduct of it. This is what we need from him. That we need him to start elevating the talent around him and making it work no matter what's around him. We see flashes of it.
Okay. Hang on, Vonjo. Let me address that real quick, right? Because I hear this narrative. I hear this narrative a lot now. I hear this narrative now, right? I hear that a lot in the fan base. And again, now that I've got an opportunity to address somebody directly, because I'm not as active on the internet like I used to be. But Vonjo, you just said, right, we need a guy that's going to make things happen no matter what is around him. Name me the quarterback that does that. No matter what you put around. We've seen Patrick Mahomes, who's considered the best, maybe arguably we've ever seen, right? What is this year proven? Every quarterback needs weapons. Every quarterback needs support.
Here's the thing.
So to sit here and say you can just put tomato cans around a player and expect them to overcome that's just not realistic, Vonjo.
That's not what I'm saying. No, that's
you need to you need to speak a little more clear, bro.
Let me speak a little more clear on it.
Go ahead.
I say that elevate talent around him, where you could put B-level talent around him, right? And he could elevate that to an A-level performance. Versus I have to put A-level of talent around him, right? And he just, a byproduct of that. Because we would agree that Waddle is an A-level talent, correct?
I would agree.
We see Tyreek Hill is an A-level talent. Correct?
I would agree.
Mostert has been playing at an A-level talent, right?
I would agree.
So, but at the same time, I said that he does it, but he doesn't do it consistently enough because, again, we see Wilson, who we would consider a C or B-level talent, right? He's using Wilson at times.
Yeah.
And he's made some played with those. That pass to Claypool.
Who was that?
That pass to Claypool is a B-level talent. Claypool is a B-level talent.
Right.
And that ball fell right in his hand. Again, he was making it work, but we don't see that consistently enough from Tua.
I would agree with that. I'm glad you clarified that.
And we could sit there and see our O-line right now is B or C-level talent on the O-line, right? Those are not all-star players. Those are not Pro Bowlers.
And I get what you're saying.
Has Tua to a great degree overcame that this year? Has he not done that?
He's done it, but again, I'm saying consistently, and we don't see it consistent enough.
Yeah.
I
think that's fair to some extent. I think that's fair.
I would agree, but see, the only issue, real quick, CB, I'm sorry, not to cut you off.
Mahomes, here's the thing: Mahomes had B-level talent last year. He took that to the Super Bowl.
Oh, absolutely, and that's a testament to how great he is, and also, again, Andy Reid. Let's not listen. I love Patrick Mahomes, but let's not. I mean, he's got arguably the greatest play caller to ever do it at his disposal as well. So let's not let's not get in the habit of just assigning 100% of the credit to one guy. He's had that for the duration of his career, which I think has been instrumental in his development. However, real quick.
Well, I'll argue that he doesn't have Bellamy this year. That's where his real issue is.
Maybe.
Yeah. But let me do this. I'm gonna get another person on Vonjo.
Yeah,
I appreciate you.
Thanks for having me up, man. Happy New Year's, gentlemen.
I know you ain't going, Vonjo. You going
real quick.
I got to go back and bring that.
No. He ain't putting you out. He said he gonna add somebody to the conversation.
Hey, hold on.
No,
hold on,
you running. You running. You scared. That's what that
BJ,
is. You scared.
Hey, BJ, before you go, right? Or I just need to ask BJ a question because BJ was on my side, right? And we kind of killed somebody for it. We haven't seen him since. But BJ, yesterday when you watched that game, did you see our $24 million D tackle anywhere on the field yesterday, BJ?
Oh shit!
Actually, I did see him on the field. He was drinking water at one point. He looked gassed a few times. I actually saw he get close, and then that quarterback that people say that's not a quarterback, kind of. And here's the funny thing. I want you guys to go back and watch this film, right? Go back and watch the film and look at Lamar Jackson. And this is why I say his arm talent, people underestimate it and just think that he's a runner. Lamar Jackson moved the pocket in a very unique way, where when he was moving the pocket for us, when he was in the pocket, instead of stepping up in the pocket to make the pass, if you look at his dropbacks, they were deeper than usual. Go back and pay attention to that. Instead of stepping into the pocket, he resets the pocket by stepping back even further and then launching the ball and buying more time.
Yeah.
The young man is having and I said that he's extremely comfortable in the pocket this year, and
some of those
that's one of the reasons.
throws were.
I see growth. I see progression from Lamar within the pocket. I do.
That's definitely a better passer.
CB, when you do the film breakdown, pay attention to Lamar, where our defensive tackles actually got the push up the middle. Yeah, we actually got the push, and we squeezed the pocket. But the thing is, Lamar Jackson.
Film breakdown.
Best in the game.
Film breakdown.
Best in the business.
Oh, okay.
Damn, EM, shut your ass up for a second. God dang.
When you look at the film, you'll see Lamar Jackson take a couple more steps backwards versus stepping into the pocket to reset the pocket. And that's why I felt like he had so much time. Our defensive tackles were getting there. The man is just talented. Like I said, we got whooped by the MVP of the league. That's all.
Yeah, we got whooped. Hey, guys, shout out to the homie Crypto in the building. Turn up, Crypto.
I'm gonna get back to the family. I'm gonna get back to the family.
Yeah,
he
was out the bus.
Hey, man, always respect, bro. Hey, salute.
All right, man, let's go. I'm adding people on. Let's go. Shout out to Crypto. I'm gonna let Crypto go first, and then I'm gonna let Dre go. What's up, Crypto?
Crypto. Oh, okay.
Hey, what's up? Happy New Year's. Can you hear me? My mic's messed up.
Unfortunately, we can hear Crypto. Unfortunately. But go ahead, Crypto. Get your shit off. Get it off, Crypto.
I was just up here to stop EM from starting off this brand new year with all the gaslighting. Wow. Already he's off to a gaslighting start.
Turn up, Crypto.
2024. What did he say?
Already. What did he say, Crypto? What did he say?
Yeah. What I say?
He's trying to convince us that injuries is the main and only issue. When everybody in the league, has injuries.
He didn't say
At
only.
what point did I say that was
Crypto.
the only issue, bro? Like, Crypto, are you serious? Are you trolling or what? You trolling or what, Crypto?
No. What I'm saying is, injuries is a problem, but you do have to say that the rest of the league has that same issue.
Nobody
and they don't
said
always
that.
run it back.
No, who? Bro, when did I say that was the biggest? When did I say that?
He didn't. I don't think he said that.
Okay, maybe
I didn't say that. There ain't no thinking to it. I didn't say that. Crypto up here with this nonsense, bro.
Maybe I misunderstood you because that's what you was giving off. That was the vibe you was giving off with this running back nonsense.
Crypto
Lewis
just came up
asked the question. Lewis asked the question, what's the strategy was going to be going into the offseason? And I said, I think health is the biggest is one of the biggest issues. Yeah. You got to get healthy, bro.
Yeah,
I mean, but EM, you got to realize that's a no-brainer. Everybody at this time of the year is going to always do injuries. You're never going to be 100% at this time of the year in any given year.
We know. So what's your point, Crypto? What's your point to rebut?
You got to do something to get better with the problem.
I'm trying to figure out what your point is, Crypto.
How about getting rid of the players on our roster that's most likely to get injured all the time? Let's just start there.
I like the thought of that.
Is that Tua?
Ooh. No, it wouldn't be Tua.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I want to get him on wax. Now, see, I want to get him.
I'm talking about the players that y'all always.
I baited him in.
I'm talking about the players that y'all always blaming because their injury problems causes Tua to
okay.
fail.
Well,
Those guys.
I need a name on it, Crypto. Who are the players that you're referencing right now?
Number one, it would be Terran Armstead. Let's find a way to replace him. Number one. That's a hard one for people, but he's number one on my list. To try to replace and get his replacement in the building.
Who else?
That's just for starters.
Well, hey,
who else?
Let me let some of these other guys talk, man.
Go ahead.
Yeah, Crypto talking nonsense, bro.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Em just like hanging on to injured players, man.
No, that's not it. No.
If it was left up to you, DVP would still be on the roster.
Ooh.
Well, yeah, no, that's not true. But I do think I do think you've been a little too harsh on Devontae Parker over the years. But anyway, go ahead. Moving on. I'll come back to Crypto. Don't worry.
We'll come back.
Go ahead.
I gotta get Bones' ugly self on here. I got you. Hold up, bro. Chill. I got you. Go ahead.
What?
Dre.
Bones is pulling up.
Yeah,
Bones finally pulling up. Damn.
Finally,
shit.
Damn.
Everybody
now
pulling
you
up.
was just in the Man City a month ago looking for him, right? he was nowhere to be found. He was nowhere to be found. Oh, now you want to pull up when you 5,000 miles away,
stop,
bro.
Stop.
Okay.
Hey, watch the language. I don't want to get killed by YouTube. Go ahead. Hey, go ahead, Dre. Let me let Dre talk first. Go ahead, Dre. Dre, my guy. Shout out to Dre. I see you with the purple do-rag on, by.
Listen. I just logged on. The first thing I hear, sometimes y'all let bullshit fly, and I can't let that bullshit fly. I heard fucking Von Joe say Chase Claypool is a B-level talent. Fuck out of here.
Come on, man. Language.
If you shut up for a second. You shut the fuck up for a second. If you're the biggest, most athletic nigga on the field, 95% of the time you get on the field, you make that fucking catch. He's a DF player. Fuck y'all.
Go tag Von Joe. Tell Von Joe to pull back up. Somebody go tag Von Joe. Hey, go tell Von Joe to pull back up.
He got a bone to pick with Von Joe. Clearly. Go ahead,
he on Von Joe neck right now.
Alex first. Alex, go ahead, man. What's up, Alex?
Man, they'll be all right.
Oh shit! I need a phone, Alex.
Man, Alex at work. Oh, Alex tied up right now. He at work, man. Let me Bones, what's up, man? Go ahead, Bones.
What's up, man?
What's up, man? What's going on with you?
Shit, cool, man. My problem is, bitch. My problem is motherfucking Mike McDaniel and Vic Fangio. Yeah, we had them drops and all that shit, all that little shit. But my problem is with them. Because, bitch, ain't no way you got a running back picking up damn near 12 yards, look like, for every fucking carry, and you keep coming off the fucking run. For what? We should have been running the ball since the first fucking quarter. Like, he kept coming off of it. Like, just throw a pass in there every now and then. Everybody know we got Tariq. You know what I'm saying? Everybody know that's where he going to be looking to go. You know what I'm saying? Then that's when you hit him with some different shit. Like Mike McDaniel, he's stuck on stupid, seeing like me and Vic Fangio. I don't know what the fuck his issue is.
All right, language. Come on, man.
I don't know what. My bad, buddy. I don't know what his issue is. Like he keep putting veterans. He got this veteran thing. Like I hate coaches that put veterans over skill. Like that's stupid to me, bro. Like everybody else. Like it felt like Miami Dolphins.
Say he the back. My bad, Bones. Go ahead.
Man, stop playing.
It's like Miami Dolphins, like the only team in the NFL that don't play their rookie talent. Even if they better than the freaking vets, they'll let them sit on the bench. Like, dog, Eli Apple should have been off the field last week. You know what I'm saying? Like, put Cam Smith in there. Somebody.
There must be a reason for the Cam Smith not playing thing, bro.
Yeah, especially at this thing.
Bro.
Did he really punch? Did he really punch somebody out in the locker room?
Man, I heard that was nonsense. That's what I heard.
Monty said
I heard that was a bunch of foolishness,
man.
I heard he was bodying X in the locker room.
Really? I heard that was nonsense.
I don't care what happened. They probably handled that behind closed doors already. That man should have been on the field. Like freaking shoot, I would have put him in the third game. Cause shoot,
Bones only like that nigga because they both wear dreads. That's the only reason why you like Cam Smith, dog. Come on, man. The man ain't giving you nothing in the classroom. If the
Oh
man
my
can't give you
God.
nothing, if he can't give you enough in the classroom, he can't give you enough on the field. Plain and simple. That's what the situation is with Cam Smith, and that's been confirmed by multiple people. It is what it is.
I didn't know that.
I don't know, Ian, man. It sounds like you putting a bad reputation on him.
I don't know. I mean, honestly,
don't blame me. I'm not the one reporting that. It's these other folks, bro. They doing that.
He can't get on the field for a reason, man. I don't know what it is, but something's going on. Clearly, something's going on. Because Eli Apple's getting clocked now. He's getting clocked, and he got in there and got burned on that first play. I was like, man, but he figured it out. He got better after that, bro. He got burned.
Couldn't even catch that dude.
Know that. He'll hang in there sometimes, but the man toast. He showed you that when he played with Cincinnati.
Well,
all he did was get toast.
Ian, let me ask you a question, Ian. When you say he ain't giving you nothing in the classroom, things I've heard, like rumors, right, is that he was showing up late and stuff to the classroom. But when I hear you say
that too,
so I'm asking. So I'm gonna ask you, right? So if he's not giving you nothing in the classroom, do you mean like a Channing Tindall? Because we all heard what's going on with Channing Tindall. Like he ain't
same situation.
Like he ain't
same situation.
Now that's concerning a little bit. You know what I'm saying? For a second round pick that had a first round grade coming into the draft, like, arguably he was one of the best corners in the draft. And if you're telling me he's having a hard time, like in the classroom, like understanding and learning, man, that's concerning, bro.
Again, I am not in the room.
How complicated is your defense for you to learn?
I was just going to say, like, how complicated is defense, bro? Like, for real?
What you mean? What you mean?
It can be at times.
I'm talking about, bro, at this stage of the game,
bro.
You're a professional athlete, though. Like,
bro,
I mean, you got here.
The coach can call anything they want to, bro. You just got to know your assignment. Like, it's easy to learn
but that's the thing, Bones. That's the thing, Bones. That's the most difficult part of it.
You telling me a cornerback doesn't understand assignment?
Hey, it happens.
That's hard for me to believe, him.
Listen, you talking about a defense. Hang on real quick. You talking about a defense that is completely, almost 100% predicated on communication. Knowing where you are supposed to be when you are called upon to be there, right? That is the foundation of it. This is not the Brian Flores scheme. When you 85% man, right? Man coverage, again, from a mental standpoint, is a heck of a lot easier to play in, as opposed to a complex scheme like Vic Fangio's that runs so many different type of coverages, so many different type of hybrid coverages, bro. That stuff takes time. That stuff is difficult to really digest and apply on the field, bro.
Yeah.
What hybrid coverages have you seen out there on that field?
Cover six
on some serious stuff. Like,
does he not run a lot of cover six?
What's
Vic
so bad
Fangio?
about cover six?
What you mean? You asked me. I'm using your words, not mine. You asked me what hybrid coverages does he run? Cover six is a hybrid coverage. You got one side of the field that's running cover 4. The other side of the field is running cover 2. It's a combination of the two coverages. That's what hybrid means.
Yeah,
I understand, but what's so complicated about it?
Well, again, it's not just that coverage. He runs many more coverages, and on top of man, and on top of the pressure looks, and on top of the disguises. It's just a more complex scheme to get, okay,
I understand.
To be able to play in.
I understand that, but dog, I don't care, bro. Like, the man got better skills than fucking I'm sorry for cussing. He got better skills than Eli Apple, bro. Like,
well, so physically, yeah, absolutely. Physically, yeah.
Mentally, like, he got better skills than that man on the field.
We don't know about
we don't know mentally because we hadn't seen enough of him yet, bro.
We just don't.
Now I think he's a better athlete. Now I think Ethan Bonner, I think Cam Smith. Oh, they're much better. They're an upgrade athletically, but this defense is not predicated on athleticism, bro. It's not the Brian Flores, Josh Boyer scheme where athleticism, being able to run and chase people down, is what the most important requirement is. It's not, bro.
Yeah, he got to figure it out though, man. I think Cam, needs to find a way to get on the field. And if he's not taking care of his responsibilities and doing what he needs to do, typically that's what it is, right? It's usually a guy just not doing the little things, the attention to detail, the being on time. If coaches can't trust you to be on time and be where you're supposed to be and do what you're supposed to do,
you're not going to be on the field, bro.
You're not going to touch
CB, can I address
field.
that?
I understand that and I respect that.
Yeah. You're not going to touch the field.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
may I address that, CB?
Yeah, go ahead, Sharif, real quick.
Because my thing is this, right? I agree with Bones, right? And my thing is this. To an extent, I feel like a man has come here and he wants to do it his way to the detriment of this 4-year growth and what we're trying to do this year. And I say that in this respect. I wasn't giving respect to Flores. I was giving function to how McDaniel offense is causing Tua to run it. And in Tua running it, it is causing him to be one way. So when he comes out of the element or the line is not good because of injuries or the receivers are down because of injuries, he's out of an element where he doesn't know how to hit 9 guys. And he hasn't prepared for that because the game plan was not for that because of an injury. So my thing is, and when I go to Fangio, I feel like Fangio wants to look good in his own defense when Flores has already given the blueprint. And all Bones is saying is you blitz Lamar this game because that's the way you stopped him. That's the way someone has already stopped him before. Yeah. Yes, most of the guys are not here anymore. There's Ramsey, there's new guys here. But most of the team who stopped Lamar that day, we're 2-2 against Lamar. So it ain't like we newly figured it out. We've been figured him out, but it's a new defensive coordinator here. My thing is, you're wasting my time by not blitzing Lamar yesterday, and you're trying to look good in cover 2, one side, cover 6. F that and blitz Lamar, because you're wasting our time as fans. Fangio.
And I agree with you to some extent, because if it's not working, what you're doing, and you're sitting back and being cautious, and
just
if it's
do
not
what
working,
did.
Make adjustments.
Make adjustments.
Make the
right?
adjustments.
Make the adjustments. Mr. Paul, what's going on, man? How you feeling?
How's everybody doing?
Hey, what's up, Mr. Paul?
You got to make, and Happy New Year's to everybody.
You
got to make the adjustments and what have you. And also too, I understand what y'all saying earlier about some of the players may not be ready to be put in there, but at this point right now, I don't have as much knowledge of football as some of you guys. At this point right now, we got to give some of these guys snaps that we have. You may have to bring some of them off the practice squad. We got to bring some of these guys up, put some of these guys in there, because you can't pull nobody off the street to come in and replace the guys that's injured on defense offense. You might have to give some of these guys some snaps to try to beat Buffalo, and if we make bad Buffalo, then we got to prepare for the next opponents. But we at a point where we got to do what we have to do. Yeah. I'm sorry, that's my opinion.
I got a question. Do we have an offensive coordinator, or Mike McDaniel is the offensive coordinator?
Mike McDaniel is the offense.
He's and that's the problem. That's the problem with me. Because you a second-year head coach. I ain't gonna say first year, but you a first-time head coach. You feel me? Like, you don't need both of those responsibilities, bro. Put somebody in the skybox and let them call that. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't feel like he should be trying
to be too much like his boys, like McVay and Kyle Shanahan. He's trying to be just like them.
Like, you already got it's your offense. You know what I'm saying? Just put somebody in the skybox that can see a little bit better than you. You know what I'm saying? To give you some help, some advice on what exactly looking good out there and what we should do. Because you down here on the ground level, you ain't really seeing too much. You feel me? Like, I got a real problem with him being a head coach and an offensive coordinator. Dog.
Yeah, because Fangio's up in the box. Most of the time I've seen him in the game, Fangio's up there in the box looking down.
Yeah, but Fangio, he made me mad because he running like I seen Eli Apple in cover 2, like the whole game, like people just running up the sideline, like all game.
I said it from Wednesday. You zero Lamar. They asked me in the spaces, what do you do to stop Baltimore?
Zero Lamar. It ain't
And
even
guess what?
0 on Lamar.
Fangio pissed me the hell off because we have the ingredients to do it, yet he wants to look cute in his defense. That's what's pissing me off because this whole season, that's what probably cost X to turn his knee. You got him in something that he's not used to doing. Just zero blitz the hell out of Lamar, and X probably still healthy in that game.
No. X bit on that.
Yeah, I'm taking it to that
That's not going to
extreme.
work because it
Yes,
didn't
I'm
work
taking it
last
to that
year.
extreme because this is what you do to stop Lamar.
And I don't know about y'all. I'm with
No.
Lewis on this too. You know what I'm saying? What was that guy Christian Wilkins at? You know what I'm saying?
Ooh, y'all talking about that man.
And I
I
think
don't care.
Travis
I'm talking
Wingfield.
about him.
I think Travis
He'll
Wingfield.
be back next season when we play Carolina because that's who he
I
shows
think
up against most of the time.
Travis Wingfield posted numbers yesterday. Do you not know that Zach Seiler is up to 9.5 sacks?
Yeah.
Yes,
And I told y'all, right,
We just saying
when
it
they
all
were
year.
so quick, when
I'll take
when a lot
Zach
of people in the
before
fan base
Christian
was so quick to automatically assume that Christian Wilkins was going to be the first in double-digit sacks, right? I said, bro, I caution all of y'all because the guy right next to him, right, is the more likely person to get to that level because he's I think he's a better athlete than what Christian Wilkins is. Right. So now look at how that is come to fruition. 9.5 sacks, bro. And Christian Wilkins won double. He's got better numbers than you right now. And you want double. You want to get $10 million more than what we paying this guy?
And me and Lewis been saying that all year. We'll take Christian Wilkins before we pay this nigga. We'll take Zach Ziegler before we pay Christian Wilkins all that money he want. We're gonna find somebody else on the spot.
1000%.
Or I'll put Hand in his spot. I don't care. I don't care about nothing.
Go ahead,
He was
Mr.
non-existent in that game, bro.
Go ahead, Mr. Paul. Yeah, Bones, you're right. Go ahead, Mr.
Now,
Paul.
I mean, like I said, my knowledge of football is not all that great, but when we played teams like the Ravens, the Bills, where you got a dual threat running back, can't you put a linebacker to shadow him?
You said put a linebacker to like spy him. You talking about spy Lamar?
Right, spy.
Yeah,
you could.
I Lamar wasn't the problem.
You could do a
Lamar
lot,
wasn't
but see,
the problem.
but
running backs
when
out
you
the backfield was the problem.
But when you spy Lamar, just know you using a guy, you taking a guy from the middle of the field.
Absolutely.
Yeah, you're giving something.
Right?
You're giving something else up.
Absolutely.
You're giving
Absolutely.
something up. So
okay, got it.
So you gotta understand that when you spying and doing
Pick
stuff
your
like
poison.
that, it's pick your poison. And Lamar is a good enough passer now where he can recognize stuff like that and he can pick your ass apart.
Absolutely.
And I think that's what
happened.
I think that's what happened yesterday. I think Lamar is just so good of a passer now that when you do something and you mess up, he's gonna take advantage of it. And that wasn't Lamar
1000%.
before, right? Lamar wasn't good enough to see it in real time, make the throw. Now he sees it in real time and kind of sees it before it's happening. And makes the play, and that's why he's playing at that MVP level.
And that's why.
Go ahead, hold up. One at a time. Go ahead, Lou. Go ahead.
And that's why, CB, that's a great point. Remember, when we did our keys to the victory of how Miami should approach this upcoming game, I was dead wrong. I thought over a 60-minute ball game, I didn't think Lamar could do what he did yesterday. And to your point, this is why when Sharif keeps saying, well, we got the blueprint, we should have just zero blitzed them, I think CB just hit it over the head. Yeah, 2 years ago. But just how we come out here every day and we preach how Tua Tagovailoa has gotten better, Lamar Jackson, bro, has gotten 10 times better than what Lamar Jackson was from the pocket.
Well,
so you
from the time that we played him with Flores.
Let me just pose this question to y'all real quick to Lou's point. Yeah, based off the way he played against us, he looks like he's taking he's gotten better. You see progression. But can we say that over this year? Because if you look at Lamar's numbers, they've been relatively pedestrian in terms of passing numbers. All I'm saying is I'm not saying Lamar hasn't improved. I am just saying wait and let's just see once the season plays out and once he gets to the postseason. That's when you'll know for 100% whether or not what we saw on Sunday is more of a reflection of where he has gotten to or
Ian,
a
let me ask you
reflection
a
on
question.
Vic Fangio?
It's
Let me
90
do this.
days
Ian, let
before
me
you
ask.
played him,
There you go, EM. That's the point right there, EM. Lamar has gotten better. He has gotten better at throwing and standing in that pocket. He ain't got the mindset as a kid like he used to take off and run. He got
Let
the
me
patience to sit in the
ask.
pocket.
Let me
But
ask
the
Ian
big
this question
problem was
though.
Fangio, bro.
Hold up. Oh, okay, yeah. The
Yeah,
problem is Fangio. Yeah, I agree with that. But go ahead, Lou, real quick.
What, that defensive guru that y'all said would never make a mistake against this type of quarterback?
Hold on. But it's not. It's not. It can't just be only Fangio. And I want to ask this question to EM and then everybody else. But why does it seem like, again, even last year, look at the numbers of what Lamar did to Miami last year. Over 100 yards
Again,
rushing.
another reason why I brought that up, Lou. Go ahead.
Well,
Yeah, but it was
almost
two
400 yards
different
passing
defensive coordinators.
and 100 yards rushing, right? And then we've seen over the years what Josh Allen is capable of doing. To Ian's point, right, about Lamar. Josh Allen hasn't looked particularly real good this season. But look at the game when he got us week 4. He looked like the best player not only on the field but in the NFL. Like, why is that, EM? Like, why does it seem like quarterbacks or just teams in general sometimes get off on Miami like that when they don't do that on a consistent basis across like the league? Like, to your point, Lamar hasn't looked great, but yesterday he looked like Joe Montana out there yesterday, right? Like Josh Allen.
I
Why
agree.
do you think that is, Ian?
The problem is,
I mean, Lou, listen, that
what's going on,
Lewis,
guys?
because he's constantly listening to EM
what's up?
downplaying him. That's probably why.
EM,
all right, man. Wait, call it what you want. That's a tough question to ask because you got, we've seen him dominate Flores. Now we're seeing him dominate, Boyer, and then now you've seen him dominate Fangio, right?
Well,
man, and you look at the different strategies that they deployed against Lamar, right? They took two totally different approaches for the most part. Now there was, Fangio tried to implement a little more pressure and a little more man coverage, but for the most part, different overall, right? I mean, it's just if you are seeing a player dominate two different philosophies, right? Schematically, it basically boils down to the personnel. It's a personnel issue at that point, in my opinion. And I just think you look at
personnel, but
you look at Lamar in the first half of that board last year, right? He did that, it was like Lamar looked like the best player in the league. He looked a lot of what we saw on Sunday, but Boyer adjusted to him in the second half of that. I will be fair to Boyer. He did adjust to him in the second half, and he deployed some different strategies, and it kind of threw Lamar off, and it kind of stagnated their offense. But yesterday, right? I think with Xavier Howard going down, that's why it boils down. I go back to I'm leaning more towards a personnel issue. When Xavier Howard went down, I mean, he was basically targeting one side of the field. He wasn't throwing. He wasn't even looking at. And he should have, right?
Right side, boy.
He was taking what the defense gave him, but I just felt like the personnel issue on the other side with Eli Apple, and then on top of that, Fangio's inability to really adjust to Lamar, I felt like in time, kind of contributed to him being his elevated level of play yesterday. Again, I'm not saying Lamar hasn't taken a significant leap, but Lamar has not looked like this at any point this year. Now, you could say what you want about, well, he looked like the best. He's the best. Bro, his numbers from the quarterback position, right, have been
his touchdowns to
relatively
interception ratio
pedestrian
was
all
still
year.
amongst the best in the league, though.
Well,
But
real quick, Ian. Let me let Shake holler real quick. Shake, what's going on with you? How you doing, bro?
hey, one thing. I'm glad where Ian was going, but at the end of the day, one of the best things that I've been preaching about that the Ravens did last year was get rid of Greg Roman and got this new offensive coordinator. It's
That's
just like Tua looked good under Gotze and Changeli, but he's looking much more polished under Mike McDaniels. Just like Lamar is under. I don't know who the new OC is, but at the end of the day, Greg Roman, his problem was he was making adjustments and he was just one-dimensional. Where this guy looks like he wants to make the whole team about the whole team and not just trying to put everything on Lamar, just like Joe Brady is doing right now with Josh Allen. If you notice, Josh Allen isn't being Diggs, centric right now. Depending on Diggs.
He's spreading the ball around.
Yeah, and it's not all about him. He's not putting the game on his back, and I think that's what this new OC is doing with Lamar.
Yeah, man. And let me go to Cap for life, man. Cap, I see you down there. Did you have something you wanted to get off real quick? I don't know if you there. Cap, what's up?
Yeah, man. I just see if it was all right to play this real quick. Just thoughts on McDaniel real quick.
Play. What are you playing?
Hold on.
You know, every decision, as a head coach, you have to make a ton of decisions. A ton. That's literally your job. And it's important to know how many people are depending on you to have the right intent. And I think that was an emotional situation that the bottom line was that it was the situation was very unique in that the offense had just taken out offensive players. White went in for his first snap, and I was in the process of communicating defense.
Cap, it's breaking up.
It was a fumble, one-play drive.
Hey, go ahead and pause it. But yeah, I think so. What he's saying there is that, and just to provide some context, he's talking about the Chubb situation. He took the offensive players out, and the defensive players didn't come out. They were still in the game with 3 minutes left in the game. But those are tough decisions, and he's right. I mean, you gotta. But those are decisions that people have to help you with as well. They have to remind you of it. Right, because sometimes you're just, and that's the problem I think with being a play caller head coach, is that you're so focused on the offense and what the offense is doing that you can't see the bigger picture. Sometimes you can't see everything, right? Because if he knew, and if he had a play caller and the play caller was calling the plays, and he can focus on the defensive side of the ball at times and say, hey, I mean, why do we still have those guys out there? Get them out the game, right? But he's so focused on, I got to call the plays for offense and make sure they're getting the right play calls and it's in on time, that he can't see some of that stuff, and that's why
I don't think that's the case.
He's got to do a better job of that. He's got to do a better
that
job
might,
of that.
and you know what? It might be too much on his plate. Maybe that has contributed to them. Look at the issue of getting a play call in a timely manner, bro. Look at how over the last 2 years that's been a major issue. Maybe he does have too much on his plate, bro.
Yeah, and
I say something to Ian's point he said earlier. Hey, CB, let me say something real quick to what Ian was saying earlier about the Fangio, and I think he mentioned another defensive coordinator, Boyer and Flores. It wasn't just them two, because Lamar's had a great history versus even Belichick. Last year, he put up 37 points on the Belichick defense, 4 touchdowns, 1 interception with an over 110 rating. He played well against Belichick too.
Lamar can have games versus anybody. He really can.
Really, any quarterback can. We see him.
Lamar struggled more against like a cover three zone defense, like zone man. Like you just play the man that's in your zone. He shift, you pass him on. Like he had complications with that kind of defense. You know what I'm saying?
And when we didn't play man coverage at all,
some zone blitzes.
The only way he'll beat that defense
like what Tomlin does.
Start running, like. But other than that,
and what we're not listen, what we're not going to do is sit here and say after this loss now start playing Monday morning quarterback talking about, well, McDaniel, maybe it's the play calling duties. Maybe he didn't understand Chubb was on the field because he was man. Stop. There was 3 minutes to go in the game. That man knew Chubb was on the field. He was just out there, bro. Stop.
Yeah, I was puzzled when I was sitting there, bro.
We always do this. And this is what I'm saying. We always seem to have
turn
a
up,
problem.
Lou. Turn up, nigga. Turn up.
We always seem to have a problem when we lose, and we want to come up with all these damn excuses. The fact of the matter is, they didn't come to play. The players didn't execute. They didn't make the plays that were there to be made. That has nothing to do. We always come out and know it, CB, because that's what we just did. We said, well, maybe McDaniel didn't understand because he's an offensive guy, and he was, bro. It was 3 minutes to go in the game. You're down by 38,
Yeah,
bro.
he
You're
should
not
just pull
worried. You're not
everybody.
worried
Yeah, you
about the
know
game
that.
plan at that point.
But he's
You're not worried about nothing. You know what's
but you
going
gotta
on.
I think he's
understand.
worried
But you
about.
gotta.
I think he's worried about stats
This
at
is
that point right now.
hold up. This is my thing though.
Yeah, trying to get Chubb
Mike
extra sacks.
McDaniel is
Trying to get
he's
sacks for
offensive.
certain guys.
Cap, hold up 1 second. So he's on the offensive side of the ball. So he's focused on offense. Vic Fangio probably is responsible for taking guys out of the game on defense. Like he's responsible for taking guys out.
CB, it's 3 minutes to go in the game and you're down 38. You can be an offensive guy, but you're not worried about the next play, CB. You're down 38.
I mean, he's calling the play though.
Like you know what's going on, CB.
Exactly, CB. This is my point. This is why Mike
He's calling the
don't
play.
need to be he don't need
He's
to
not
be
calling the plays on defense. What do you
He need to
mean?
be the coach. He
He's
need to
trying
be
to
the
get
coach.
paid.
He need to get him an offensive coordinator. You know what I'm saying? Get somebody that can run your offense and have a like mind like you. If you're gonna be the head coach, be the freaking head coach. Don't be trying to be the offensive coordinator too, because you can't keep your eye on everything trying to be the offensive coordinator when everything going on.
Yeah,
like that's why you got all these different responsibilities. You ain't Bill Belichick. You ain't been here though. You ain't no dinosaur in this thing. You just started doing this. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I think.
But with 3 minutes left to go, his play calling duties is over. The game's already decided.
Man, it's still not over though, Crypto. But but shout out to Nene. Nene, what's good? What's going on with you? Nene,
First of all,
Nene, what's good?
First of all, Happy New Year. I'm going to talk about something a little different than what everybody else is talking about. We have a pattern of hiring inexperienced first-year guys and then get mad when their inexperience shows on the field and decision-making. When you brought Mike McDaniel here, you brought him under the context of a couple of things. Fix Tua's confidence, bring a jovial, happy locker room, and be the complete opposite of what the prior regime was, right? So when you see when you see the lack of discipline, when you got penalties against you and you got people laughing, the camera catches you laughing on the bench when we just blew another 3 and out, so on and so forth. I said this to Lewis about maybe a month ago when they did a piece on Mike McDaniel, praising him to being so great and he's the savior. And I said, once he starts to lose, they're going to turn on him just like they did the previous regime, because you cannot expect this man, right? Granted, you could say the talent, you could say everything, but nothing changes production like experience.
True.
You brought Brian Flores in when he was a defensive coordinator, first-year coach. You brought in Mike McDaniel, offensive coordinator, a first-year coach. So when Rome starts burning, it's easy to go after the inexperienced guys. And I need more accountability on the structure of the Miami Dolphins. And because you can't keep just firing coaches all of the time. You can't do it. That's one of the reasons why we're not successful. We don't have continuity. And I land my plane there.
And real quick, just to touch on what Nene said, I think that's spot on. And I think when you have rookie head coaches, you have to take the good with the bad, and you have to take your lumps, right? You have to take your lumps. And it's the same with having a rookie quarterback. You put a rookie quarterback in the game, you know, hey, he could always throw a pick. There's always going to be a time where he can make a mistake and stuff like that. But it's a roller coaster, but you need him to get that experience. It's the same with the head coach. So I think we're just in a situation now where he's got to learn very quickly. It's like drinking out of a fire hose. Like it needs to happen fast, right? Because we're in this window, and it's not his fault that we're in the window, but he's got to figure it out, and he's got to figure it out quickly how to win games and how to win in the playoffs and how to win on the road, and that's the situation you're in. And as fans, we want it right now. But you know, it may not happen. We'll see. But I mean, he's got to do it quickly.
Yeah, but the window's opportunity is closing.
And you're right, and Mr. Polk, you're right. The windows will close. The windows of opportunity will close, and you got to do it. You got to try to win it right now. You got to try to win it right now, but you got to try to win it right now with him also learning on the job, because it's still job learning. He's still on the job learning right now. That's part of the process.
Can I add one more thing too?
Yeah,
I just think it's a consensus on how this team is built. To me, there's an arrogance at the front office. And you see that arrogance now that Rome is burning. You see that with Fangio. No matter how much Lamar cooked him, he didn't change the defense. So how you build the house is how it's going to fall down. Now, I think we will beat the Buffalo Bills on Sunday. But you cannot develop a culture when you're walking around here like you won something and you haven't won a damn thing in 20 years. All I heard this summer, this is the best roster in 20 years, blah, blah, blah. And that wasn't an actual compliment. But you got to put the coaching, the discipline, the culture, whatever you're going to be around it. You can't just get high names and because it makes the fan base happen because I recognize his name. I know him from TV. We're going to be great. No, there are steps to success.
Oh, yeah.
And it shows when you go through things, right? And that's why when they brought up the Cleveland Browns, they lost a lot of people too, but you can see that how they were built and whatever their continuity and their culture was is a little bit more successful than we are. And I'm not saying it can't happen, but you can't keep blaming the head coach. There's a lot of other problems with this organization. And I say it again, I pound the table. This organization has a lot of flaws. It doesn't matter what head coach you put in there.
I could blame
you
the
gotta
head coach.
fix the top.
I mean,
I could blame the head coach.
You know what? Listen, I want
to hold up. EM go and then Bones.
I want to push back.
I gotta shut it down soon, guys. I gotta shut it down soon.
I want to push back a little bit on what Nene said about. I would like for Nene to clarify what specifically are the issues that you identify within this organization. What cracks do you see in the foundation?
Well, I see the cracks in the foundation when you have your GM being asked a legitimate question on the offensive line, and he snickles and says, "You're more concerned about it than what we are." And then here we as fans, all throughout the season, crying about the offensive line. We don't have nobody, but the person that makes the decisions to bring in personnel has a response in that manner, and his response in that presser led into why we didn't get anybody during the deadline, why we continue. The only time that he got two offensive linemen is when like three of people got hurt on the same game. So when you have that, when you have those individuals making those decisions, right, you can't sit there and get mad at a guy that is just placing his spirit with no experience. Brian Flores did not have experience. Mike McDaniel did not have experience.
Yeah. O-line hasn't been an issue this year, Nene. I was going to say that.
Wait a minute now. Wait a minute. Hold on.
O-line hasn't been an issue this year.
We lost the best center in the whole NFL, which I disagree with, but you brought it up as a talking point.
Well, I was talking about in the context. I was coming from a Super Bowl perspective. Right, we can still be productive, right? Productive enough to get to the postseason and maybe even win the division. But I was coming from a Super Bowl perspective.
Yeah.
Right, but that's the goal every year is Super Bowl. So it is continuity to what I'm saying, that you created a team that was shattered from the beginning. You brought in a lot of players that have questionable health issues, and you gave them a lot of money. And now that you're injured, now everybody's going frantic when these people have a history of being injured.
Robert Hunt had missed a game before he got hurt this year.
Hold up.
Robert Hunt hadn't gotten hurt. Now he's played every game up until this year.
Lou, go ahead.
No. But see, Nene, you can't have it both ways. And again, you know how we do, Nene, right? But your illustration was, well, look at the culture in Cleveland. Look at what they've done and stuff. Well, what Super Bowls have they won, Nene? If you're going to sit here and tell me that Miami has a continuity problem and stuff, that's fine. That's your opinion. But then you can't tell me, well, they don't have those issues in Cleveland, because you just said, those are your words, not mine, Nene. You said the ultimate goal is to win a Super Bowl. Well, how many of those has Cleveland won? And you're sitting up here making it seem like Cleveland has all the continuity. You're making it seem like Cleveland has it figured out, but Cleveland hasn't won anything, Nene.
But what I'm saying, when Watson went down, Well, to your point, let me answer it, please. When Watson went down, a lot of people counted them out. Nobody had them as fighting for a number 1 seed. But for whatever they're building, and that's in the present tense, not in the past tense, for whatever they're building, they had enough resiliency that even though their running back had a traumatic injury on on TV, that they lost Watson, that they're still moving forward. A lot of people had them out, and I'm sure you had them the same, that they wouldn't be fighting for.
And Nene, you're absolutely right, Nene. But look, but this is what I'm saying. Okay, cool. We're having a good discussion, right? You're right. They've had injuries and they overcome to get to an 11-5 record. Miami has had injuries. They're at 11-5, Nene. So what are we talking about?
And we've had more injuries. And we've had more injuries.
But what I'm saying is the panic I hear on these panels since we lost yesterday, and I've been in a lot of space and I haven't seen
not for me. Not for me.
There's been a lot of panic. There's been a lot of things that if we won that game, we wouldn't be talking about a lot of the things we're talking about right now on this space or this YouTube channel. Correct.
You weren't jumping off a bridge last night?
You wouldn't have questions
about absolutely not.
The season's over, guys.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We can't, like y'all just said, I can't have it both ways. Well, the narrative can't be both ways, because if we would have won that game yesterday, half of the crap that we're hearing right now would not be said if we won that game. So apparently there is an issue that we're having a conversation about on January 1st, 2024.
Well,
I don't agree with that.
Bones, go ahead real quick.
I could just say we would be disagreeing about something in it. And for one, baby, the GM has done his job. He built a nice team, which our record reflects that. You know what I'm saying? The thing is, and I keep repeating this, our coach needs to focus on learning to be a coach instead of trying to do offensive coordinator.
But who hired him?
To that point, he won the Jeff Ireland Award, because Jeff Ireland had us at 11-6 as well.
He hired a good Mike McDaniel is a good coach. He just have to learn how to be a head coach first.
What I'm saying to you, agreeing to my point. He was hired as a first-year coach.
You're not letting me finish. He's a first-year head coach, whatever, but he needs to find an offensive coordinator to run his offense so he could focus more on paying attention to both offense, defense, and special teams. He needs to pay attention to
I don't disagree with you. But
so that's what I'm saying. Our team is built in a very good way with Greer. I'm sorry, you can't make that point.
I don't agree. I think there's so many health concerns with what he has built.
The head coach,
and I think the finance.
It's the head coach's job. Hold up. It's the head coach's job to hire his offensive coordinator and defensive coordinator.
Well, but he still gets guidance.
All right, Bones, let her go. Go ahead, Nene.
But hold on. My thing is, we're asking someone who's doing this for the first time. That's why I keep saying organization. You don't just hire somebody and say, oh, you're on your own. No, that's not how that works. It's continuity. It's communication. Why every time we fail, you get a quote from one of these Miami reporters from someone in that locker room that there's communication issues. This is what I'm saying. You can't just throw this man out to the wolves and say, okay, first year head coach, we gave you Tyreek Hill, we gave you this, you're on your own. No, he has to, as a GM and other people around him, do their due diligence assist this man.
But they didn't do that. They didn't do that, Nene. You brought in Darrell Bevel, right? Who's one of the most accomplished, right, offensive minds in the league. You brought in a Frank Smith. You brought in an Embry, right? You brought in a Butch Berry. They did not do that. These are some of the most accomplished guys at their respective positions. They surrounded him. Again, in my opinion, they gave this man as much support as you can give a first, second year guy in terms of support around him. They didn't do that. Chris Greer did not do that.
Let me ask you something, Ian. So if that's the case, where's the disconnect? Is he not listening to their advice, or they're not giving it to him?
That very well could be what's going on.
It's one or the other. Or
well,
because
again,
all I heard about Mike McDaniel is how of a gentleman he is and how he's kissing babies.
No, a lot of that is window dressing. A lot of that's window dressing.
And all of that. But if you just said, if what you said is true, that he has the auxiliary pieces to be efficient in his job, is he not listening to them, or they're not giving him the advice he needs to be
Well,
successful?
I think he, again, Mike McDaniel is a man, just like he's a human being, just like anybody else.
People make
He's
mistakes.
a second year guy, all right. He's in that position. I think, again, he's prideful, just like anybody, right? You got to have a little pride to be able to get to the level that he's gotten to. And I think, again, they did surround him with support, but at the end of the day, they take orders just like everybody else. They can make suggestions all week. All week they make suggestions, right? It's either he accepts it or he vetoes those decisions.
But EM, I respect you, but see, that goes against everything we've heard about Mike McDaniel. All we've heard is what a pleasure he is to work with. Unlike the last guy
that's why I didn't subscribe to that. I never subscribed to all of that window dressing, right? I was like, I always took a wait and see approach with him.
Only in the losses. Now here comes sewage of possible pride and not listening to what's being recommended to him. There is a communication problem within that structure, and you can't
I don't think it's
new guys and putting him as the face of the blame. That's all I'm saying. And I love you all.
Yeah,
but we love you too, man.
Hey, EM, I gotta close it down, bro.
Okay, cool. Hey, man, this was an absolutely phenomenal show, bro. Like, I didn't think it would be possible on CB83's show, his channel. But at the end of the day, man, hey, salute to everybody that contributed today, and salute to everybody.
You did a great job, EM, taking notes. I'm proud of you, EM.
Real quick,
shout out to the idiots in the chat too.
Real quick,
shout out to all the haters in the chat too.
Alex, go ahead real quick. I know you just came on. What's up?
Yeah, I just want to wish all y'all a happy new year and many blessings to you and your families, and hope you guys have a great 2024.
Yes.
Stay safe out there. I love you all as well. And as much as I hate to say it, the season's over, guys.
Oh, Alex, don't do it.
You need to stop, Alex. Stop that.
Come on, Alex. Don't do that to me, bro.
But Bradley Chubb gone, Xavier Howard gone. I mean,
so you gonna cry like a baby?
I'm gonna obviously still cheer for my boys.
Don't be a baby
Sunday
about
night.
it, bro.
Don't
be a baby about it. You know what I want to say. I can't cuss on
Hey, don't
CB,
do it.
bro.
Don't do it.
I'm
Hey,
trying to respect my
hey,
boys.
great show.
I'm a man, Bones. I respect you, Bones.
Yeah.
But
hey, Bones, I'm glad you finally poked your head up, bro. Because I don't know, a little birdie told me that it was a man in your city with no security, no vest on, and no gun was calling you out looking for you, and you was nowhere to be found. So I'm glad you still amongst the land of the living, bro.
Hey, you said no. Hey, EM, you said no gun. I was definitely strapped waiting. I was definitely strapped.
Oh, well, that's probably why he didn't pull up there. So all I gotta say is pull up on me. I'm glad you're pulling up.
Hey, this was fun. Hey, appreciate everybody coming
When I
through.
pulled up to the city, I was at the Magic Mall chilling. You know what I'm saying?
You ain't check in either. Don't come through no more without checking in. I got something for you.
Oh shit! Damn.
Hey,
CB got dudes out here checking in.
Hey, appreciate y'all. Love y'all.
All right, man. Hey, salute to everybody.